uwager.lv, sportsbook, and casino. Sign up today at uwager.lv, the premier online sportsbook, taking wagers since 1998. The most player-friendly lines, weekly juice specials, and a true dime line in MLB. Unique casino platforms with thousands of games. Play poker, high stakes, low stakes, or tournament play. uwager.lv, what we offer. Free same-day payouts. Customer service and wagering support, 24/7, year-round. Free monthly rebates on your action and daily casino rebates. Contests, free bets, best bonuses, and giveaways. Generous referral program. Get an 80% free play bonus on your first deposit, up to $1,000. Sign up today, and use promo code SPORTSWEB. Remember, you can't win if you don't play.
going on, guys? Welcome back to another edition of the evolution of Sports Talk Television here live on I Love St. Pete, the Hub, and Amped Up Sports. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. And before we get into this show, because I know we're all about having fun and talking sports here, especially in the Tampa Bay area, I like to have a moment of silence because Buck's family, Shaq Barrett, lost his daughter a couple of days ago, Aria, at 2 years old, from drowning. So I feel like it's in our best interest at this point to have a moment of silence. Our thoughts and prayers out to the Barrett family. There we go. Loose Cannons has something going on with GoFundMe, so we will have them on, hopefully, to promote that. The link is on my wall, so if you guys want to go donate. We love Shaq Barrett here on the Sports Web. We love the Tampa Bay Buccaneer organization, and I can't imagine losing a family member, especially a daughter at 2 years old. With that being said, how do we start off this show as we always do on the Sports Web? Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. On tonight's show, we'll have Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire of 1252 Chicago Sports. We will have the legend himself, Mr. Leo Haggerty, former coach scout and now media member of Amped Up Sports. We will have Best of the Bay, Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy in the house talking about what else? Your Tampa Bay Rays now 25-6. How about those Tampa Bay Rays? Huh? How about that? Absolutely great game tonight. 8-1 over the Pittsburgh Pirates. And the whole narrative was, ladies and gentlemen, they're not beating any good teams at this point. They just defeated the National League's best team in their league, 8-1. They beat them last night, 4-1. In 121 seasons of baseball, your Tampa Bay Rays have the best run differential. So we're definitely going to be talking about them. Of course, Turnbuckle Talk at 10:20 with Mark Mancini, former XPW announcer, Ralph Williams, the new personality there in Pittsburgh, radio personality, talking WWE, AEW, and of course, taking your phone calls. Tune in, text in, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. The other number, if you can't get in, 727-409-7528. Again, 727-409-7528. We'll post the number up there. Let's get it started. Let's go out to my co-host. Here we go. Handicapping extraordinaire of 1252 Chicago Sports. You know him, you love him, you got to have him. His Greekites, he loves to stir, you know what. Mr. Harry the Greek, welcome to the evolution of Sports Talk Television, my friend. How you doing tonight? After the Tampa Bay Rays once again take care of business, what's the excuse now, ladies and gentlemen? 25-6. How about those Rays?
How about them Rays? And by the way, the White Sox, if they win tonight, it'll be 3 in a row, and it all jump-started it with the comeback win against the Rays.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that, and that was disappointing the other day. I know a lot of Rays fans were upset, but sometimes it happens in baseball.
Why would they be upset? They beat the White Sox 3 times like that.
Well, they expected a sweep, and you don't expect to blow a lead with your bullpen. That's neither here nor there. Let's go ahead and get the legend on. He's on a pitch count tonight, but we're going to get him on. We're going to talk about the Rays. We're going to talk about the Lightning, and of course, we're going to talk about your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Can you tell I'm fired up? I'm absolutely fired up. Stop with the nonsense of that shot. Let's go ahead and get his walk-up music on. Here we go. I can't deal with you guys. Former coach, scout, and now media member of Night Sports Productions, Amped Up Sports, the legend himself with the greatest camera shot in the business, Mr. Leo Haggerty with his forehead there.
I'm sneaking up on you guys.
You're like a snake, my friend. You're sneaking up on us. You're the king cobra of this show. And I tell you what, the king right now, Major League Baseball, has to be the Tampa Bay Rays. Once again, Leo, taking care of business. Welcome to the Evolution.
Hi, Leo.
You know what, guys? If you take, and this is nuts, if you take their record after 25 games and extend it out, they're going to end up 125. Think about how stupidly sounding that is.
Yeah,
That's how great a performance they've had the first part of the season.
it really is. And, we can talk about it again. 22-1 when they score 4 runs or more. 20 home runs allowed. They allow 1 run tonight, 1 run last night. And again, the run differential in the 121 years, Leo. And that's probably when you were last around watching baseball. Just joking, but
Oh, God.
I love Leo. This is the best run differential for a team all time. I know it's May. I get it, but it's pretty amazing start here. And, of course, the Rays with the 24 wins last night, they joined the other teams here in this process. The 77 Dodgers, the 81 A's, the 84 Tigers, and, of course, the 2016 Chicago Cubs.
You know what, Peter?
You had to say the Cubs.
I
did.
don't think you're going to see this engine slow down. It's you're going to run the Big M out every 5 days, and I mean he's unhittable. You're going to get 1 run. If you get 2 runs, you win the game.
No,
because I mean he is basically, what is he, 6-0 now, Peter?
McClanahan tonight, 6 innings, 9 Ks, just dominant. I mean, and I don't even think, guys, and even watch baseball here, Harry, that he has his most dominant stuff, and he's still getting it done. He's still getting it done. This pitching staff is getting it done.
I agree. The Tampa Bay Rays are playing really, 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 did I say really enough? Great baseball.
Really.
Right
Are you excited?
But I'm really excited as well. But let me be very clear on this, guys. Teams that usually start out like this play 500 ball in the second half of the season.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Okay.
I don't want to see that happen, but you're not winning a championship this early. Take a collective breath and continue to keep the rolling going.
I got to agree with you on that, but you can't take away these wins. You're banking them.
No,
and
not at all.
And what's nice is if you look at the AL East, everybody's over 500.
Yeah.
Everybody. So they needed to get this start. The Orioles are on fire. Toronto's on fire. The Yankees aren't bad. The Red Sox aren't bad. It's the toughest division in baseball right now.
All right.
Absolutely.
We'll finish up with the Rays here. They finish up with the Pirates tomorrow. Then they have the Yankees come to town. The last place Yankees. And the Orioles, you go on the road. So all that nonsense. Yankees suck.
There you go.
It works so well, and I tell you right now, that whole narrative of them not playing great teams, that's going to end here.
That's dead in the water, Peter.
Yes.
Those other guys are getting paid, so
absolutely.
Don't tell me that.
Speaking of dead in the water,
this guy sucks.
I hate saying that, but the Tampa Bay Lightning. Leo, you were out there covering them. We'll talk about this for a little bit, and then we'll go to the Bucks, because I know a lot of people want to talk about the draft. They want to give their draft grades, and then Larry Foote had some comments about Devin White. But the Tampa Bay Lightning, go ahead and kind of sum this up, how disappointing it is, because you almost certainly outplayed them those 3 games at home that you lose, and you just can't figure this game out. But it just comes down to a deflection here, a deflection there, and
deflection everywhere.
I'm telling you. Yeah.
You know what, Peter? The series was summed up by the last overtime goal. It goes in off a perfect skate, a deflection. Mm-hmm. And again, everybody said, well, Vasilevsky wasn't at his best. Well, you get deflections, you're not at your best. And that was the problem. The problem was, folks, this series was lost game 1 when Chernak went out. Chernak is the guy that clears people out in front of Vasilevsky. They didn't have him in 8 to 10 days, so he was out the first series no matter what. They outplayed Toronto 5 of the 6 games.
Turbo.
No doubt about it. the problem was, again, injuries. Hedman was out there on guts and determination.
Sure.
Braden Point, after being boarded head first in game one, was a shadow of himself. He was not moving as well as he could. But again, what really irked me, Peter, and I said this to you as soon as it happened.
Sure.
When Hagel caught a stick in the face. Yeah, I know there was 20 seconds left in the third period, but I'm sorry. You don't swallow your whistle when somebody.
You have to make the call. It is
you got to make that one.
Call. It's not like pass interference, which you could kind of compare, but it's a power play. And if the rules state, and I get it, the refs want to swallow the whistle because they don't want to be that guy, but they have to be that guy because if the player takes a stick to the face, you have to make the call. It controls the game. It's such a terrible.
Absolutely, Peter. That when it's a matter of player safety, tripping, you look the other way. Roughing, you look the other way. Somebody gets a high stick, man, that's career ending to some people. So yeah, that kind of upset me that they didn't call that. But again, the Lightning had shot after shot after shot, and it just wasn't going in the net. And you know what, Peter? We never talked about this, but when you win one Stanley Cup, you're good. John Cooper said this when they were going for their second one. The only team to do that in the last 40 years, I think, is Pittsburgh. They went back to back. And Cooper said, you win back to back, you're special. It's hard to keep that hunger when you're looking down at your hand and you got 2 championship rings on there. That hunger just isn't there. I'm sorry. Your human nature. That's why you try to turn over your roster very carefully to get guys in there that still have that hunger.
Now, Harry brought this up around with Leo Haggerty, the legend himself, here on the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake. Again, Harry mentioned this. Harry, the Greek professional handicapper of 1252 Chicago Sports. He said Vasilevsky wasn't the same. Andre Vasilevsky talked about this the other day in his presser. My mistake was that I didn't really pay attention to my recovery. He says the first 30 to 35 games, I felt as usual, but then me and my body weren't on the same page, I guess. All those small injuries came out at the same time. Good lessons, another experience. The season really showed me that I have to be smart about it. So if I want to be a workhorse, I have to recover well. Of course, Vasilevsky started 71 playoff games as the Tampa Bay Lightning, won the Cup in 2020 and 21. And you mentioned this, Harry. Leo, you mentioned this. All this extra hockey, you're never able to rest your body. Eventually, it's going to catch up with you. And Harry, going back to your point, Vasilevsky agrees with you. He wasn't himself.
Yeah, I mean, it's that was one of the points I was trying to make, but the other point is he's not seeing the point of the eye. He's not seeing from the point as well as he was, and I thought it was him. It really isn't. They're just not clearing the players.
Correct, Harry. That's a very astute comment, and what I preach to this. And again, Cooper can't admit to it. He can't. He can't say, yeah, we're tired. But there was a blurb on game 2 that the Lightning had played 43 more playoff games in the last 4 years.
Crazy.
Than any other NHL, the closest. So they're playing Toronto. They probably played 70 more than Toronto because they were out the first round every year. So again,
Canada.
I think it caught up to him. I think it caught up to him. No, more mentally, or like Vasilevsky said, just the little nagging injuries. By playing so much hockey, they didn't go away.
Yeah, Vasilevsky's goals against average was 2.65, 915 save percentage during the regular season was his worst since 15 and 16. So,
and guys, this team's also getting older.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
Okay, the team's getting older, but they're going to get younger next year. They're going to be fine. They were injured a little bit. It happens to everybody. Anybody remember the Buccaneers from last year?
Yeah.
Am I going to say anything more? Okay.
Right.
You know what, Peter? I am going to ask Julian Breezewa at the beginning of next year, and I've got to word this very carefully. And I'm going to say, you know what, Julian, there comes a time when a player has to decide that it's time to retire and leave the organization. It also is a time when the organization has to decide, is this player worth the money? Well, we saw with LeCavier and San Luis, they had to part ways. Is it getting that close with Hedman and Stamkos that the organization has to take a quick look and say, are we getting a return on investment? I don't think it's going to be next year, but I think the year after, you're going to have to start looking at this.
Well, there's been a lot of talk of that, and Stamkos, he'll be entering his final year of his contract next season. I don't think he's going anywhere. I think he should remain a Tampa Bay Lightning player. To me, he's up there in the annals of, Rondé Barber, Derek Brooks, guys, Levante David is up there. You want those players to stay with their team, and I know it doesn't always happen in a professional league, but it needs to happen here. Stamkos.
Peter, it's not that it doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen at all. Think about it. How many guys, Aaron Rodgers going to the Jets. Right. No one thought he would leave Green Bay, but it gets to a point. It gets to a point where you just can't afford these guys.
Right, you're absolutely right. Now, they have some main decisions that they're going to have to make. Alex Killorn is an unrestricted free agent. He's played 11 years for Tampa Bay. You don't want to see him leave. You could see the old killer there in the playoffs. You have Corey Perry, who turns 38 on May 16th. Again, going back to the injuries, Braden Point, rib cage cartilage fracture. Sounds painful to say, painful to have. Victor Hedman, of course, a hip impingement. What do you see with this team going forward? Can they keep Killorn? Will they keep Perry? Or do you see them losing more players like Palat right now, who's doing good things for New Jersey?
How old is Killorn?
It becomes a situation where you got to sit down with the player and say, look, you're not worth what we were paying you, but we want to make something that isn't going to insult you.
Right.
That's the hard part. But again, what people don't realize is it doesn't take as much money to keep somebody in Florida because there's no state income tax.
Right.
So again, I think the Lightning are very shrewd at how they get their roster. I think they're going to make an effort to keep everybody. But and Peter, look at this. This is crazy. This is how good the Lightning is when it comes to drafting and bringing people up. Who's the best player in Florida right now? Verhaeghe, right?
I got to give you guys something breaking here. This is actually really good from one of the worst teams in baseball who's playing really good.
What's that?
White Sox fired their manager.
No, it would be nice, but check this out, okay? The game's 4-4 in the sixth inning. Dylan Cease is pitching very well. He ends up giving up a couple of walks. All of a sudden, the bases are loaded and no outs, and they bring in Santos. He's the rookie who throws, I don't know, his sinker's 100, okay, just to give you an idea.
Ridiculous.
The ball never made it past the pitcher on two different batters, out at home, and a strikeout with a full count.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
that's and this is why I love sports. Whether it's the Chicago White Sox or the San Diego Padres, it doesn't make a difference. But those are the reasons why we watch this. 3-2, bases loaded, 2 outs. Whose testicles are bigger here, guys? And that's exactly what they did. I hate to use that analogy, but that's exactly what it was.
Well, you could have said the one I use, whose sphincter is tighter.
Whose sphincter is tighter? That's true. But that's a very
This guy sucks.
now that's an astute comment. But Leo, I got a question for you. Killer with the Tampa Bay Lightning. How many more years is he going to play? Why are you going to continue to pay a guy this much money?
Good point.
For that many years? I mean, come on. Look what the Blackhawks did. I mean, let's be fair here. Jonathan Taves, it was time for him to retire. His body was breaking down. There's a huge difference. Patrick Kane had a plenty in the tank. They went, see ya. They've done that with literally every one of their star players. You talk about a complete breakdown, but they are getting rid of the old and bringing in more of the new. And that's, my friends, what I think the Tampa Bay Lightning are going to do next year. I don't think hold on. They're not tearing this team down. This isn't a rebuild. It's just a little remodification in a couple areas.
And
they need to get faster on defense.
It's exactly what they've done the last 2 and 3 years. They bring in Hagel, they bring in Paul. They bring in guys slowly. Perbix came in. Think about this. This team is playing with 2 rookie defensemen in the Stanley Cup playoffs. They're not a bad hockey team. In fact,
they're going to get faster.
Yes, they're going to get faster. the big question is, what do you do with Pat Maroon?
Mm.
I mean, he gives you so much more in the locker room. He gives you so much more on the ice
I love
in terms of being an enforcer. But where are you going? When they brought in Janot, I thought, well, Pat may be going out because that's your other enforcer. But then he gets hurt.
Yeah,
But
I would
my
keep.
biggest observation that I've had about the Lightning this year, and I
Mhm.
noticed it really about midseason when I really started to watch them quite a bit, is, and I keep harping on this fact, they're not as fast as they once were. This team 4 years ago
oh,
was faster skating backwards than most teams skated forward.
yeah,
Fact.
and Harry, that was the big push, was to get faster, and they did. And I'll tell you what, Kucherov, Stamkos, Point. I mean, look at Palat.
Mm.
These guys were all speed merchants, and
Yep.
You know where
they.
the original speed came from? I'm going to bring up an old name for you. He was a Frenchman, Martin St. Louis.
Yes.
You talk about someone that was like Speedy Gonzalez on the ice. You
Well,
couldn't see
I
it.
mean, and then that's why you got Braden Point. And if you could
Yep.
keep Point healthy here the last 2 seasons, we may be talking about a Stanley Cup champion, because I truly believe, gentlemen, that if Point were healthy during the Stanley Cup final, they most likely would have beaten Colorado. Speaking of Colorado, they're out. Good night. See you later. The Boston Bruins, they're out. And the New York Rangers, they're done. Leo, how surprised are you by all those early exits here for the NHL? And the NHL has to be kicking themselves because you wanted all these teams, at least one of them, and they're all out at this point.
Yeah, you did, Peter. And here was the problem with Boston. And I said this: once Florida went back to Bobrovsky. Does that name ring a bell, Peter? Oh, wait a
Oh, my
second.
God.
Wait a second. He
Yeah.
was the goalie that shut out the Lightning when the Lightning won 62 games.
Yep.
I said, if they go back, if they put Bobrovsky in and keep him there, look out, because he knows what it takes to beat teams. And you know what? Boston never lost they lost 3 in a row.
Mm-hmm.
They did not know how to recover because they won 65 games during the regular season. And what a bad move by the coach. Do you believe he pulled the goalie after game 6 and put in a new goalie game 7?
Yeah, that was unbelievable.
What
Yeah.
were you doing? That told your team, hey, I'm not trusting this guy. Oh my God, what a mistake that was.
All right, we got Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy coming up here in just a little bit. I know he wants to talk about the Tampa Bay Rays. Really quick, let's talk about the Buccaneers. Switch gears here. Here's Coach Larry Foote talking about the Devin White situation and also the business of the situation and what it's all about. Even Rick Stroud said, is this personal or is this about money? Here was Foote's answer. Here we go.
First, he's not going to be the last. We know that. Like I told him, he's getting paid $11 million this year. Those are champagne problems. And I get it on both sides. And he done played a lot of ball. Do we need to be here in the spring? We would love him to be here, but it's not going to hurt him from a standpoint of playing. But, I want him here, and I'm quite sure that's going to get worked out. But I understand both sides. It's part of the business that nobody likes, but it is what it is. I haven't really talked to him about that. We just talking more about, getting in shape, stuff we need to work on, and off-season tape and breakdown and stuff. What we're looking for him to do, but we haven't talked about when he's going to show up. Right now, he's fighting for a contract and champagne problems. It's money. It's money. It's you looking now at the guaranteed money, and he wants his money now, but he got to understand, organization, they're preparing for next year, so we got to meet somewhere in the middle, however it's going to play out. But picked up his 5th-year option, seen across yesterday, a lot of players, they don't get that option. So, but it's money, and I understand that. Like I said, he's not the first, and he's not going to be the last, and then that's part of the game.
All right, welcome back to the evolution of Sports Talk Television. I mean, Leo, your
Get in the
thoughts on
gap.
his comments? I mean, for me, I was thinking, champagne problems, and I feel like this could be a problem going forward as a distraction. Do you see that happening, or do you think eventually Devin White and the Bucks will come to some type of compromise here where he plays out the year, proves himself, and then possibly could get that big-time contract, or could this go downhill very fast?
Peter, I don't see how it can go downhill. They picked up his 5th-year
Not at all.
option. Guess what? Hey, shut up and dribble, right? Well, shut up and play.
Right.
I mean,
Shut up and dribble. I love you, Leo.
you signed the contract.
Right.
And I'm going back to the NFLPA.
Mm-hmm.
None of these contracts are guaranteed. So that's a union problem that needs to be rectified. But he's under contract. It's not like
Stop.
just what are you thinking, Devin? Come in, play, and then negotiate. And I got a feeling if you're having a good year about week 10 or 11, someone's going to call your agent and say, let's lock you up now. So, yeah,
Yep.
I just, if it's about money, well, not surprising. But again, $11 million and you're complaining? I got to wonder about that one, guys.
Yeah, champagne problems, like he said, man. I need some of those champagne problems at the end of the day. I know Harry would like to have some of those champagne problems. With that being said, the draft happened. How shocked were you, Leo, that Kalijah Kancey is the #1 pick for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Much was made about an offensive tackle. They decided to not go with an offensive tackle, so now it looks like Tristan Wirfs at the left side, as I talked about, and then also it's going to be Luke Gedeke on the right side there, his natural position. And then there was a quarterback on the board, and Will Levis and Hendon Hooker, who they passed on. So how surprised were you that it's a defensive tackle who, by the way, is being compared to, I don't know, Aaron Donald. I don't know if he's going to live up to that. Take Jason Light's word. He said John Randall. And that kind of made me, if he's anything like John Randall, and remember, this history of this team, how they wanted Randall to play a certain position. Well, it certainly seems like this defensive coaching staff is open to Kancey, where he's playing inside or outside, right?
Get off of me.
Yeah. Oh, I'll leave that one alone.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Jeez, man.
You know what, guys? When I look at the entire Buccaneers picks, 1 through the end, none of them made me go, wow. Atlanta takes Bijan Robinson. I go, wow. Houston takes C.J. Stroud and Anderson. I go, wow. The Bucs, and to compare him to Aaron Donald, the guy's 50 pounds lighter. I mean, Aaron Donald is like 300 pounds, and this guy's like 248, 250 in there.
Oh, no, the D tackle? No. He's 281 or something like that. He's only a couple.
I don't think, Harry, I don't think he's that big. I think more like 250, 260 in there.
No, he's up there. He's 280 pounds.
Yeah,
that would be nice.
He is. He's 280 pounds. He's extremely, extremely fast.
Oh,
He could slide on either side of the line. He could play the middle. He's not. But the nice thing about this is he's never. God bless it, Bandit. Stop! Can't you see I'm doing a show? Here, let me put my cat down.
You gotta put. Yeah, you gotta throw that. You gotta tell him to.
Don't worry. 5, 4, 3. There he is. I can't win. So what I'm trying to say is, he's never going to have to play the nose. Never.
No.
Okay? He's just not going to have to. They have the big bodies to fulfill that. But I'm telling you now, he is a disruptor in the backfield. Do I think he's going to be Aaron Donald? Here, let me give you a little prediction. No, I think he's going to exceed Aaron Donald in Tampa. That's how good this player is. I finally got a chance to watch the tape on him. It's a compliment when people say John Randall, because in my opinion, John Randall was better than Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
John Randall was the most disruptive. I'm sorry, guys.
Do
you have something to say here?
Bandit is disruptive.
Harry, is this guy more disruptive than Bandit?
I'm telling you, Bandit is having a disruptive night here, like Warren Sapp, Aaron Donald, and John Randall combined. Leo, comment on this.
This does not look really good.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, listen, at the end of the day, you get Kancey because
he's cleaning his paws, just for
I get
clarify that.
That's fine. Okay. Vita Vea playing in that position. He's taking those double and triple teams. That's going to open it up for the young rookie, right?
It's going to open it up for anybody that's playing the 3 technique. Yeah, but Vita Vea is a generational nose tackle. I mean, you don't get guys that are 340, 350 pounds that can move with his acumen. There's my SAT
Keith
word.
Traylor.
Yeah,
Remember
yeah,
anybody remember Keith Traylor? How about
yeah.
Vince Wilfork?
Mhm.
You're correct. Those are generational players.
Mhm.
One came out in 2000. The
How
other
about
one
Ted
came
Washington?
Ted
Ted
Washington. How about having them both on the same team? Ted Washington and Keith Traylor.
Oh God,
Yes.
They
Yeah.
did.
enormous.
This
Crazy.
Chicago team had them both on the field together. Could you want to know why Brian Urlacher looked like nobody could touch him?
Nobody got to him.
Put those two in front of him. It was like, where's Brian?
Yes.
You know what? You're exactly right there, Harry. Because when you look at the Baltimore Ravens, when they had Ray Lewis, they had Siragusa back in there. Oh, and they had another big sucker in there. You just didn't get to the second level.
What a lucky
He was
cat.
like
Look at this, Pete.
roaming sideline to sideline.
Pete.
Yeah, they just we used to call them D-gap blockers. Just get in there and get out. Peter, I hate to jump
What a
ship.
lucky cat. Look at this.
I know. Listen, I know you got to go here. I don't know what Bandit is doing at this point. Real
Oh,
quick, letter
something
grade.
that everybody wishes they could do.
Shut up. Be quiet. Leo, letter grade for the Bucks this draft.
B.
All right, there you go, my friend. The legend himself. He's on a pitch count. You owe me wings, my friend, but I tell you what, I'm going to buy you wings. I'm going to buy everybody wings. We're going to have a sports web day, wing day, where we all go in on
Not
wings.
Little Caesars.
Peter, I hope to see you Saturday night.
You will see me on Saturday night. Did you invite Harry the Greek there for your party?
I did not, because the last time we had Harry go somewhere, he couldn't make it, so I figured he was probably
Saturday is the Kentucky Derby, gentlemen.
Exactly.
There is zero chance that I'll be available. I'm doing interviews on Friday with a couple of different radio stations throughout Texas and out Las Vegas.
Yeah.
On Saturday, I will be at Tampa Bay Downs. I was supposed to fly out to Churchill with a buddy of mine, and we actually had a box at the Kentucky Derby, but unfortunately, I won't be able to attend.
You know what, Peter, and that's why I didn't invite Harry, because when you look at the first Saturday in May, that's the run for the roses, baby. And Peter, my grandson is really looking forward to meeting you.
Well, I can't wait to meet your grandson.
What time is it, by the way, for this little get-together?
6:00.
Oh, Lord, the race isn't even gone off yet.
Exactly.
Well, see, there you go. Leo Haggerty, I can't wait to meet your family. You're a legend, my friend. Happy birthday to you once again, and we will definitely celebrate on
Happy
Saturday.
birthday, Leo.
Thanks a lot,
guys. Hey, 70 ain't too bad so far, so we'll see
man,
what happens.
you're doing great for yourself. 70 going
Leo.
on, my friend.
Leo, give me a Go Bears one time.
Where are we going?
Okay, good deal. I like it. Off with his head.
Yeah.
All right, Leo, thanks a lot.
Take care, guys.
All right, buddy. There you go. Let's go out to Mr. Tampa Bay, Ray Kennedy, best of the Bay. I want to get you on here, but we got somebody on the phone lines who wanted to call the show. I told him to call the show to talk about the Bucks, to talk about the Rays, and talk about the Lightning. Mr. Matt Colson, welcome back to the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. You're on with yours truly, along with Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire on 1252 Chicago Sports. And, of course,
Are you excited?
Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy flexing right now because the Rays are 25-6. Flex, my friend. Matt, go.
I just wanted to talk about the Bucks. I can't talk about the rest of you guys. I don't hear all that.
Oh, I can't hear him. He has to call back.
No, I can hear him. Go ahead. Go ahead, Matt.
Hold on.
Go ahead,
I
Matt.
can't hear him at all.
Well, I think it's
Is that
Ray's.
better?
It's Ray's music there.
Yes, it's better.
Mute Ray. Go ahead, Matt.
Jeez, Ray's always screwing things up. I went to Arby's today in
Okay.
Oklahoma.
Okay.
They had a special on creamsicle ice cream.
Okay.
Creamsicle shakes for $3.
Are you?
I had 3 of them.
You had 3 of them.
I am so jacked up on sugar right now because it's creamsicle time, baby.
Well,
Hey,
you
Matt,
must.
I think you called the wrong show. That was the What Did You Have for Dinner show. You remember that, huh?
You be
Oh,
quiet, okay?
That's clearing up the suck right there.
Creamsicle is back. The uniforms are coming back. I know Ray is happy about it. How excited are you about the Creamsicle uniform returning back to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this year?
I'd like to see them on 2 or 3 times a year,
Come.
not just on a. Are they just doing it on Thursday? Isn't that the the thing.
I think they're going to do it on a primetime game, honestly. I mean, I think that's where you're going to do it on a Thursday night to get everybody's attention, but it has not been announced yet. The NFL schedule release, I believe it's going to be May 11th, so we'll see when that's announced. That's probably when the throwback game is going to happen, but I think a lot of people are excited about that uniform coming back. You know, I've got different memories on it, but it does look like it's a sharp uniform. There are some good memories there from the 70s, maybe not in the time that I watched them, but at the end of the day, I'm hoping this team is not as bad as they were in the 80s when I was watching them.
No, I don't mean to sound like sour grapes here, but I'm actually 100% glad that Tom Brady never had a chance and never will have a chance to wear these trophies. Thank you, Matt, because what he did don't get me wrong now. What Tom Brady did for this Buccaneers team is iconic, and it's going to be in our history. Our grandkids should tell their kids about this. But the fact of the matter is, the two-helmet rule. They couldn't make the silk fine. They couldn't make creamsicle colors because of COVID. Whatever the hell the reason was, it took an extra 4 years to get this throwback uniform here. Levante David gets to be the only player that wore it back in his rookie season and wears it again back in 2023. And I'm kind of like, not that I'm like, what do we keep separation church and state? Okay, Tom, you won a Super Bowl, the greatest of all time. Great to be part of that, but this is something special that Buccaneer fans and all the players have to look forward to in 2023.
Hi, Ray.
Hey, Harry.
And hey, Bandit, because Bandit decided to take over tonight, Matt. He
doesn't. I put him down. He gets up. I put him down. He gets up.
Put him on your lap or something. That's all right.
I've already tried that, Pete. It doesn't work.
We're animal friendly here on the sports web. Just saying.
I got a squirt bottle.
Yes, there you go. A squirt bottle. That's not good, Matt.
I can't use a squirt bottle.
That's what you get, you little jerk. All right, Matt, what else?
They do that in Oklahoma.
Shut up, Harry, and be quiet.
Shut up!
All right, what do you think about the Bucs draft here? Yes.
And I'm impressed.
Okay.
From far away, don't have the local reporters still in my head kind of thing.
Correct.
But what I'm seeing from here, we are doing the work. And I think a B- or a B is a good grade. I got Sports Illustrated gave us one of those, and I think
Mel Kiper gave you a B-.
Kiper, yeah.
Yes, Mel Kiper gave him a B-. Yeah. So
and I tend to agree with him. I don't know what they're going to do.
It's time, Bandit. You got to go away. That's for him.
Okay, stop. Go ahead.
I got the cat finally down.
Okay. All right, go ahead, Matt. Sorry.
The tight end from the well, I don't know, the prison team. What the hell? I'm losing my mind.
Well, you're talking about you're
the machine.
Yes.
Whatever that
well, I think he looks like Karrion Kross to me from WWE. His name is Payne Durham, the tight end from Purdue, and he's taken Rob Gronkowski's number 87 there. So there you go. Perfect. And I think they're hoping that he can be.
If he could be 1/10 the last player we got from Purdue being Mike Allstott in the second round back in 1856. If this guy can just bring half that attitude to this Buccaneers team, then with Coach Keefe and Kate Ott and the rest of this Buccaneers tight end crew under Dave Canales' new system, I'm excited for that. It was a great draft. I'm saying A- on this draft, guys.
I'm excited.
Yeah,
well,
we addressed. Go ahead.
Are you excited, Ray?
Well, I'm definitely always excited here on the Sports Web. We got Harry, the Greek professional handicapper extraordinaire at 1252 Chicago Sports. Best of the Bay, Tampa Bay, Ray Kennedy, Matt Colson on the line. What else did you like about this draft, Matt?
Well, I think, like I said, we're putting a new personality in here. I like the way that Todd Bowles is picking these kind of players that are, I call them the Pirates of the Caribbean. I mean, they're basically a bunch of fruitcakes. And if you can make it work, it's going to be a lot like the old Raiders.
Well, he's talking
out there, and they had Kenny Stabler, had all of those.
He's gotten off here. I don't know what happened. I guess he got off. His phone died, so we'll get him back on there. But Cody Mock, that's who you're talking about. 6'5", 302.
Like that guy.
Right. Ginger again, red hair, no teeth, lost his teeth. Are in 7th grade during a basketball game, decided to go with that look. And then you have Ryan Jensen commenting about it. I mean, we'll see. As you're clapping right now, you're going to give us an update here in a little bit, but I think he's going to play the left guard spot. You'll have Jensen back at the center position. I think you're going to have Hansey at the right guard position, and once again, Gedeke at the right tackle position. And that's why I didn't necessarily buy the Bucks going out and getting a right tackle because, it doesn't seem like Jason Light to just give up on a guy who's a second-round pick who, by the way, Bucks fans he traded up for.
Isn't Kristen Wirfs going to be on the other end?
Kristen Wirfs is going to be on the left side at this point, according to various sources, Peter Report and our buddy J.C. Allen having it.
That's a positive of about 60 yards a game, right?
To me, I think your offensive line gets better without Donovan Smith. You got Tristan Wirfs, who's one of the best young.
Who, by the way, Donovan Smith just signed a 1-year contract with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Are you serious?
Yes, sir.
He'll never.
I think. What do you mean he's never going to play? You don't sign someone to $11 million, Matt, and you don't play him. He's playing. This is the misconception of the people that watch these shows. Okay, let me be very clear when I explain this to you. There is not a left tackle in the league other than 2 of them right now that can be on an offensive line with absolutely no help blocking, and you're passing the ball 80% of the times. I don't care who you are.
Well, it's $9
million.
If
you put Tristan Wirfs on the left side last year, as much as the Bucks would have been passing the ball without help from a running back or a tight end, he wouldn't look that great. I'm just telling you.
I disagree with you because Tristan Wirfs, ever since he's come in as a rookie, it didn't matter.
You got to have help. You've got to have swing protection. Defensive backs and edge rushers are the 2 most talented. They're 2 of the fast. Listen, man, you're trying to block someone going backwards at someone going full speed at you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's just the way it is. And I'm not trying to be a matter of fact, but I'm really tired of hearing this about Donovan Smith. He didn't look that good last year. I get it. I totally get it. But there ain't a left tackle that would have been on this team that would have looked good last year in this offensive scheme that they had. Let's just call it what it is, Matt. It sucked.
Well, it may have sucked, but I think Donovan Smith sucked, and that's the reason why they moved on from him, and that's why
700 passing attempts, Peter, 340 rushing attempts, and 2/3 of the rushes were on first down, Pete.
Ever since Donovan Smith won a Super Bowl in 2020, his game has regressed. It has gotten worse. Whether you're passing the ball a lot or not, do your job. He didn't do a good enough job, and that's why you're. And yes, losing Gronk, of course, he's an end-line blocker. He helped Donovan Smith.
He helped
Donovan Smith
just like all tight ends and fullbacks do, Peter.
Yeah.
Okay. Listen, man. Listen, Ray will even tell you the same exact thing. You've got to have help to protect yourself from edge rushers. That's it. That's just today's NFL. They're bigger, faster, stronger. The end.
I'll tell you the reason why Donovan Smith is a Kansas City Chief is because they don't worry about trying to establish a run game. They've got Patrick Mahomes at quarterback, and they're always going to. Andy Reid's always going to use the passes up the run. But I mean, Harry, you're right. I mean, he was set up for failure in this offense last season as Tom was going through that real stuff. And this offense is trying to find itself, and all of a sudden, this number 1 scoring offense from 2 years before can't find their ass from a hole in the ground. The truth of the matter is, they didn't have a kind of an offensive line that could run block and get downfield. You had Ryan Jensen out, and then Donovan Smith's not a run blocker. So good luck with Donovan and those Kansas City Chiefs. I like the fact that Jason Light's putting together a Buccaneer offensive line, moving Tristan Wirfs over to left tackle, and putting Goedeke and whoever over at right, because we're going to have the kind of an offensive line that's going to road grade down the field. And that's going to set up the possibilities for our passing game because we're going to run it down their throat.
And look, you can run all day long. You want to, and I get it. You're going to have balance in the offense. You should. But when you get called on to pass block, you got to do your job. Donovan Smith the last couple of years, whether he had Gronk or not, is better with Gronk because Gronk covered a lot of the inefficiencies that he had as a blocker, as a pass blocker. Tristan Wirfs is going to make the line better, and I'm going to tell you right now, this team is probably going to be better overall without Tom Brady and without Donovan Smith because of all the distractions and nonsense they had going on last year.
Because of Kyle Trask.
Nobody's getting divorced that we're caring about. Everybody's staying married this year. Nobody's going to go to the old team's owner's new wedding and picking up massage parlors and shit.
You're not going to have to worry about that. Matt, thanks a lot for the call. Use that.
Hang out when you come around a little longer next time.
Yeah. Appreciate you, Matt. Thanks a lot, man. Bye. All right, man. See you later. Matt Colson, Ray, you're out and about. Where are you out and about tonight?
Where are you, Ray?
First of all, Shout out to the staff over at Lucan's Liquors. I stopped and saw Zach tonight on the way down there. I'm like, Zach, I'm going on to Beach Sports. I'm going to be on a sports web tonight. What do I need? He said, Ray, you need a tall boy highlight. So Zach and the crew at Lucan's. I'm down here, of course, the Brass Caps in Madeira Beach Way, but I want to go ahead and work it back real quick if I can, because I talked a lot about this Lightning during these playoffs, the fact that this team was playing different in front of Vasilevsky. And don't forget, before Game 6, one of the Lightning.
Hold that thought. I'll tell you what, I know you want to say this thought. We'll get you on here, but we got to go on to the Timex reporter, Mr. Alex Nunster. Welcome to the Evolution after the Tampa Bay Rays defeat the Pittsburgh Pirates 8-1. What do you got to say, my friend?
Hey, buddy, let me start off by saying I know you know this, but I actually started a Raise Up page with a buddy of mine probably a few years back. It's probably been 3-4 years.
Yes.
And this year I decided to do something a little different. I decided to go ahead and give out tickets just this year, just because I know a guy. Let me tell you something, man. And in all my time of being a Rays fan, I met this amazing, probably got to be 4 years old. I mean, I gave out 2 sets of tickets today. I gave out 2 to a couple, and then I gave out 2 to, him and his son. Let me tell you something, man. I don't even care about. I care about the Rays win, but just to see the little smile on that 4-year-old little kid,
mm-hmm.
It was amazing. I had a great time. On top of that, the Rays kicked ass as always. MLB's best 25-6, can't be better than that.
Yep.
But yeah, I had a great time. I had a great time. I appreciate you asking. I just wanted to call in and say hi. I haven't called in a while.
Alex, really quick, you have not called us a while, but go ahead and promote this ticket thing that you're doing, and what Facebook site is it on, so people can get it. And listen, we need to do this to the sports web. I'm thinking we should all get together as a collective unit, go out to a Rays game. Maybe not work that day, but just watch the Rays game all together.
It doesn't even have to be a Rays game. It could be a Bucks game. I'm down to do some Bucks games.
I want to do a Rays game. Let's all do a Rays game together.
It's all about spreading love. That's all this is about. I don't ask for no money out of this. I don't get this to, I don't do this just to, good job, Alex. I do this just because, I love my team. I love the community. And the small on that little boy, man, like I said, it's a page called Raise Up. It's just that simple. Raise Up. Let me make sure. Yes, it's got Raise Up explanation baseball sign.
Okay.
You can look it up. You can't miss it.
Okay.
You can't miss my post. I post everything. I post to Rays news, but I give out multiple tickets every homestand.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that I pay for. I don't ask for no money. I just do it to bless people, make people happy. And tonight had to be my favorite, man. This little boy, it makes me. I got emotional, bro. Like I don't get emotional, but this little kid was so happy.
Well, basically right now, Alex, you did your job, because you took a possible Yankee and Red Sox fan and you made him a Rays fan for life.
This guy was definitely a Rays fan. Me and him had an hour conversation through half the game, talking about everything about the stadium issues to our lineup to our offense. It's definitely a Rays fan, I promise you.
Well, I'm going to give you the Rays. That's a great job, my friend. Yes.
Listen, I appreciate everything you guys do. And as always, just let me know, guys. If you guys, I'll send you a link to my page if you want to post on the sports web or whatever. Yeah. Guys, I'm giving tickets out all the time.
All right, man. Sounds good. There he goes. So Alex,
that's awesome, Alex. That's awesome. Good for what you're doing.
I appreciate you guys. And as always, I love you both.
Love you, man. All right, good stuff there. As always, let me bring in Tampa Bay Ray back in here.
He said love you both. Was it you and Harry, or me and you, Pete?
It's all of us here on the sports web. All right,
it was you and Peter, because
my point is before Game 6, one of the assistant coaches for the Lightning were being interviewed for a Canada station, and they actually pointed out the fact that the Lightning had they had hired a firm to do the analytics as to what are Vasilevsky's greatest weaknesses or strengths, and they said that going into Game 6 now, so right, you going into the last game versus the Toronto Maple Leafs, they actually said, well, we hired this analytics company, and they said that Vasilevsky's having the most problems with the long shots with traffic in front, which, by the way, buried the lead. every goalie in the National Hockey League has trouble with long shots and traffic in front. But that was the first time that you've seen with this Lightning team going back to 2 Stanley Cups and then not last year coming up short, that you've started to see a breakdown, not everyone on the same page. And it being in Tampa Bay with the Bucks, the Lightning, and the Rays, aren't we always worried about everybody just stay on the same page? Because in that case, it seems like they weren't. I'm not saying it made the Lightning lose Game 6, but it put it out there in the entire world. Hey, we were trying to figure it out too, and it turns out Vasilevsky has problems with the long shot. And what had Montreal had Toronto Maple Leafs beat us with the long shot?
Well, he had also problems. You talk about recovery. He also had major injuries to this Lightning team. Let's go out to this guy.
Acknowledge me.
The tribal troll from Newport Richie right there. Or Holiday, actually, right down the street. Mr. Roger Shue, welcome to the Evolution. What do you have to say tonight?
Good evening, gentlemen. How are you guys doing?
Doing great. So let me mute Ray here because of the sound. Go ahead.
All right. Well, first of all, Harry,
sir,
my favorite Greek guy in the whole world. Great to see you, Ray. Looking fabulous as always. You just need the half shirt, and everything will be good in St. Pete.
Listen, nobody wants to see
That's
the
good enough to suck right there.
Stop.
Yeah, we do.
I'll take you off. Nobody wants to see that at all. Shut up. Stop being a troll.
This guy
Peter,
sucks.
What do you mean nobody wants to see it? Everybody was clamoring for it. There you go, baby.
I don't want to see that at all, okay? Stop with the nonsense.
Peter, you know you can't help yourself. You just wanted to go tuck a couple of bucks.
Roger, handle your business
Peter,
here. What do you have to say?
You're jealous. You don't have abs like
Dude, I
Tampa
am
Bay Ray.
definitely not jealous. I just want to talk sports
Why-
here. You guys want to
Why
talk
do you
nonsense
think they
all
call
night.
him the best
You know,
of the Bay?
honestly,
baby?
he's the best of the Bay because he's a talent. He's a talented writer and also a talented broadcaster here on the Evolution. We want to talk sports. We want to talk nonsense here. You and Harry
he
with
looks
your
hot in a
Greek
half
guy
shirt.
garbage and all this religious David Caress nonsense.
Oh, wow. You believe this poo-poo you're hearing?
That's right. I'm going to stir it up right there. And you got Ray doing all this
So,
other
Wait,
nonsense.
David
Three in a
Koresh?
row.
What are we
Okay.
talking about, David Koresh?
Yeah, he
Real
calls
quick-
me Harry Koresh.
Oh, no.
He does. But then again, just, but just take a look at the legend over there. The legend in his own mind. Oh!
Wait a minute. Hold on.
Oh!
Let me see the legend here. Hold on a minute. Hold on. There. Oh, there's the legend right there. Oh, right there. Here it is. There he is. Okay. Back there. There. How about that as a
The
legend?
only
there, buddy?
legend. The only legend on this show is me, the tribal troll.
For what? In the legend under your own
There
mind.
you go.
What do
There
you
you go.
say?
There's
I
your
don't
legend.
want to
That's
see
good
that.
enough to suck right
I
there.
don't want to
Wait,
see
I
that.
want to tell everybody, go back right now. Go
Brooke
back.
was giving me a pile of crap about
Okay.
I wasn't on camera giving you your wings on air.
We will
And
do
I
that
replied, and
on
I said,
air.
well,
We will do
where's
that.
the video of Harry giving Peter his steak?
Well, we will do all
We
that.
first we need to get Harry the steaks that he owes me, okay?
Yeah,
But that's
we-
okay.
Wait, did Roger just say he wants video of Harry giving Pete the meat? Roger just said.
That's never gonna happen.
Shut up.
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
All right.
How's
go
my
ahead.
hair look, Ray?
Shut
Pete,
up.
real quick. Great, awesome show.
Thank you.
Peter, just look at your super chat real quick.
Yes, you did give
Yeah,
me
yeah.
$2.
No, it doesn't say to you, Peter. It does not say to you, Peter. For the first time, the Greek received $20. Go
Well,
ahead and read it, sir.
That's going to be to me. That's going to be given to the
Read
Peter Blake Fund
the
because
super chat.
a Peter is a terrible thing to waste. What else, Roger, do you want?
A Peter is
Read
a
the
terrible
super
thing
chat.
to
It's
waste.
for the Greek.
A Harry Peter is worse.
Did you hear that? Say it again.
What do you say? What?
I said a Harry
Read the
Peter is
super
worse.
chat. It's for
All
the
right,
Greek.
I'll read the super
He said,
chat.
read the super chat. It's
Get
for
outta
the
here.
Greek.
Okay. Let me go ahead and read the super chats in the
Go ahead.
comments. Let's go on to it. Troy says first, second, third. Okay, well, good for you.
Oh, yeah.
This is what you get
This
for that.
guy sucks.
Roger says AEW was on. Why am I watching Ray's garbage? Listen, I didn't tell you to tune into this. You're the moderator. You have to tune in. Tape AEW. We're going to talk about AEW with our Turnbuckle Talk with former XPW announcer Mark Mancini and, of course, new radio personality in Pittsburgh. Yes, guys, Mr. Ralph Williams. All right, so let's go out to Roger again. Peter, about time he did a show. Slacker, webheads waiting for content.
Yes.
Hey guys, just trying to recharge the batteries on Monday night. My back hurts because I'm carrying you guys so much. Christopher says, oh, did you like that? That was good, wasn't it? Christopher, thank you very much. Appreciate you. Always. Let's go out to Roger Shoup. We get 100 likes tonight. We'll be giving out an awesome Sports Web merch. Yeah, we're working on shirts as we speak. We're working on other Sports Web merch.
You even got Bandit's attention. Did you see that?
Well, there you
His
go.
head went up. What?
Right
Merch?
there. Bandit right there loves the merch. We'll get a shirt of Bandit kicking the angry producer's ass right on TV. How about that? Yep. You know that joke? You're gonna laugh. Pig Dog Video 2001. I don't care. Who cares? You don't even watch the show anyway. Who cares? Peter, do you think the Rays can contend with this bullpen? I find it very shaky. One of the shaky spots on this team. Harry, let me go out to you from a gambling perspective. I mean, you were watching Sunday. You must have been licking your chops there with the Rays blowing that game where it looked like they were going to beat the White Sox 4 straight. What are your thoughts? Can this bullpen help this team out or hurt this team going forward?
The bullpen's just fine, but they're going to, before July 1st, you're going to have to get another bullpen arm in there. That's all. I mean, it's just the way it is. I mean, their bullpen's really, really, really good. I mean, everybody's a lot more high on Poche than I am, personally. I think he's very hittable. But honestly, there's not really any weak spots on this baseball team.
I'll give you guys something else too. That I wish I had the kid's name, but I was listening to the game at UPS, of course, working my night hustle, and the guy they brought in tonight after Poche was last night, but the guy they brought in tonight, he was literally on the Cincinnati Reds team at 10:30 this morning.
Yeah.
If the Rays wouldn't have purchased his contract and brought him in, he would have been pitching an 11 a.m. game in their AA class, wherever the Reds AA class team is. And the fact of the matter is, Peter, you alluded to it earlier. You were talking about the offensive output on these Rays in 2023, and then you're still talking about probably some of the best decision makers I think we've seen over the last decade when it comes to pitching in Major League Baseball. But we purchased his contract. He came in tonight and gave us 1 1/3 shutdown innings because he had a 4-run lead. And you give this Rays team now with the decision makers and the decisions we can make with pitching and this staff, as Eflin goes on the mound again tomorrow, Zach Eflin, our big free agent for this 2023 season, you give us a chance to be able to get some offensive scoring. And I think, like Leo is kind of, alluding to, 125 games may not be completely out of the question, and you may be talking about the number 1 seed going into the playoffs. Make sure they don't pull the Boston Bruins on us and go in top seed and then crap out.
Well,
that's what I'm afraid of, Ray, because even Bandit, you see
Bandit is. Look at Bandit, how serious that picture is. I mean, we need to see the real.
He's waiting with bated breath.
I love this.
Bandit,
I love
okay,
our show.
It's
Bandit,
okay.
It's okay.
It's okay, buddy. It's okay.
All right, the Rays are going to win.
I talk Bandit.
I talk Bandit. The only thing I'm worried about with the Rays is that it's history always repeats itself. You start out strong, you kind of fade out in the middle, and then you have to turn it back on again, Ray. That's what he thinks about your 125 wins.
Now I'm Bandit's ass.
Now he's putting it in my face.
Bandit's ass. Well, it's okay. I want to tell everybody, go back 25 minutes, and Bandit was giving you oral, Harry. They'll go back and watch it.
Oh, no, come on. No, don't. No.
He wasn't.
I didn't cross the line, Pete. I'm sorry.
Don't say that. Okay.
All right. He was orally, just screaming at me.
Yeah, well, I tell you right now,
I
think a lot of people were, pretty excited about this team. The last nights, yeah, the Rays 4-1 over the Pirates, and that's a challenge. And everybody was saying again, the narrative has been put out there that basically they can't beat anybody good in Major League Baseball, and they did the last 2 nights against the Pittsburgh Pirates.
If Rolf is in the back room, I hope not, because I'm getting ready to say something. Okay, by the end of the year, Pittsburgh will not be leading.
Well, Mark Mancini also said acknowledge him, so he's got to acknowledge us.
Ralph and I'm sorry. Listen, Pittsburgh, it's a great story, but They're not Tampa. Come on, guys.
Yeah, they're not
All right.
Tampa. And
Let's
No, but they're that team, though. Pittsburgh was the National League version of the Tampa Bay Rays in 2023, Harry, and they're doing it more with a gritty pitching staff and some young guys, a lot of positions. They got some good offense, but I mean, we could talk. Pete, you alluded to the fact
they're
that
beating the teams that they're putting them in front of.
Yeah, but
they're
the Pittsburgh Pirates were
the
Pirates were the better team. The Pittsburgh Pirates coming into the series, the Pittsburgh Pirates were the team getting better run as far as on a National League side, and the Rays are up 2-0 on them. So, and we only play them these 4 times all year. We won't play these Pirates again. So, hey guys, maybe we're looking at a 2023 World Series, which will be the Rays versus the Pirates, which I don't think Rays fans will be too
I think Harry may be right. I think the Pirates have some good players, but I don't think they're nearly like the Tampa Bay Rays. So to go back to this question here, the bullpen, and that'll be a key here, and this will be my thing with going back to ownership. Will this ownership make the right move at the trading deadline? If you need a bullpen arm, if you need an extra bat, if you need an extra pitcher, will they make that move? I hope they do. History says they don't. They may not need to.
No, they will this year, Pete.
They need to. They need to
make
that.
They will this year, because if this team continues that progression,
mm-hmm.
it's inevitable. Okay, guys, follow my words when I say this very closely and clearly. It's inevitable they're going to hit a lull in the season. It's going to happen.
Sure.
Okay. I don't think it's going to be anything significant. I think this team wins between 105 and 110 ball games this year. That's just my opinion.
Sure.
They're not winning 125 games. It's literally so difficult to do. And honestly, it would take so much out of them. You don't want the best part of this team in the regular season. You want this team to be able to turn it up just a notch when
Correct.
the playoffs come, because that's what playoff teams do.
And it's a different hitter every night.
Hey, Pete, I'm gonna toot my own horn though, because it was before the first game of the season started. We had a show here in the Sports Web, and you asked me, where do I see the Rays? I told you above 100. 125 is a big ask, but the way this Rays team is playing with the offense, with the way everyone's committing, they make up with G-Man Choi, with Yandy Diaz at first base, the way this team is playing and the way they're covering each other, you're right, Harry. They're going to hit a lull. It's a marathon, not a sprint. But the fact of the matter is, the Tampa Bay Rays are the best team in Major League Baseball. So as the Lightning got eliminated by the Maple Leafs, okay, we'll get them next year. And as the Bucks get ready to go into camp and the OTA is coming up, the fact of the matter is, Tampa Bay still is Tampa Bay, because we have the best damn team in Major League Baseball.
Love it.
It's good to live in Tampa Bay, bro.
That's it. All right, let's go out to the comments here,
St. Pete,
and then we'll get you out of here. It's good to live in the Tampa Bay area here on the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire of 1252 Chicago Sports. Of course, best of the Bay, Mr. Tampa Bay, Ray Kennedy, joining us as always out.
What about Bandit?
And you got Bandit making a guest appearance tonight a lot. Let's go out to Roger Shue. It's May, Pete. Talk to me about the Rays in October. Fair point. Stir the soup, Greek. Roger said, socks suck, Theory. Come to the north side. I mean, what do I do with him? I guess I'll do that.
That's straight up the suck right there.
Although, I kind of agree with them, because the Sox do kind of suck right now.
Oh, yeah, they do. They've won 3 in a row, all in dramatic fashion. Thank the good Lord. It's starting to look up from here.
Oh, well, we'll see what happens with these.
Oh, by the way, and Liam Hendricks, their closer, he has beaten cancer, and he will be starting here in the next 2 weeks.
Amazing. Amazing. KR says, evening, guys. Raise up. Absolutely, my friend. We'll give you the Rays horn. And, of course, KR is the one who won the fan mock draft with the number 1 pick. It was a gimme. Bryce Young, congratulations. We'll figure out what we're going to take you out for lunch. Am I keeping you past your curfew there, Harry?
Yeah, actually, I'm getting ready to go.
Okay, well, let me read these comments.
Yes,
and then
sir.
Get out of here. AL East is the beast of baseball right now. KR says the Yankees lose. That's always a good thing. Troy says, where's the video? Roger buying you wings. I knew he would chicken out, bro. We'll have a video. Free Jackson Mahomes, not getting into that. Jackson is innocent. Troy, you're an idiot. Where's the video? Greek buying him a steak. Troy, again, you said you would make the bet with Peter, give him the wings at his crib on camera. Bro, I remember the episode. You guys are like bosom buddies here. Yes, I did. We're settling up. Patience, Grasshopper. my beautiful mother here. And by the way, happy birthday to my sister, even though, you really don't talk to me anymore. That's okay. Hope you're watching. Hope I made you feel guilty. Happy birthday, Heather. I hope you're having a great one there. Watching the best sports talk show in the Tampa Bay area, the Sports Web on Amped Up Sports, 1252 Chicago Sports. Great to see Leo Haggerty and Harry. I can't believe the Lightning are out. The doctor has not missed a Lightning game. Her doctor has, and he's not happy about that call neither. Great job as always. Thank you very much, Mom. Appreciate you. KR says it's hard to keep that core for the last 6 to 7 years, and I understand that for the Lightning. I think you have to understand that for the Lightning, gentlemen. It's been a great run. I don't think it's over with. I'm not ready to call it a day, but it is what it is. You're getting up there in age. What they've done has been phenomenal. It's going to happen. I think a lot of people were surprised. They should have beaten Toronto because they outplayed them in all 3 games. And for some reason, and it's a reason that it happens in hockey with deflections and everything else and penalty calls, the Maple Leafs pull it out.
Well, Pete, that's the reason why I wanted to make that point, though, with Vasilevsky. The reason why the Lightning have won 2 of the last 3, or now 2 of the last 4 Stanley Cups, is because we had one of the best goalies, top 5 in history as far as the amount of playoff games played, Vasilevsky. And, of course, a lot of goes with Stamkos and Braden Point and Victor Hedman and the team in front of them and Brisebois and what they're doing here with, the Lightning, going back to when we first got Fedorov to come from the Detroit Red Wings and try to build this team here. So it's been a great run, and it continues. We got a lot of guys still in place for next season. So, stay tuned. We're going to be right back in the thick of it again in 2024. But as far as the exit this season, was it Vasilevsky's fault? No, the team played hard in front of him for 58 minutes. And in 3 games, in the last 2 minutes, this team crapped out and then lost in overtime in 2 of them.
Well, it doesn't help when you have 75% of Victor Hedman, who's one of the top defensemen still in this league. You lose Chernak to an injury. You have all kinds of injuries, Braden Point. That doesn't help. That stuff kind of piles up, whether you have depth or not at the end of the day. And let's just call it for what it is. The legend said it the best, Leo Haggerty. That other team gets paid too, and they had a chip on their shoulder going back to last year. They didn't want to be eliminated in the first round once again. Congratulations to them. By the way, Florida beat them in game 1. So how about that?
By the way, I'm a Panthers fan all the way, guys. I wanted to, if nothing else, hey, I know that the Panthers were the best. They won a President's Trophy last season. The Lightning owned them, and they were the state of Florida patch. The Lightning don't. We're Tampa Bay. They're the Florida Panthers. But I make no bones about it. The Kraken are a great story, or the Winnipeg Jets. I am a Florida Panthers fan for the rest of these playoffs. Beat the crap out of those Maple Leafs, and then Florida Panthers, go represent the state of Florida. We deserve it.
Absolutely. Good stuff there. Troy says, this is Peter as a clone from the Illuminati. The old Peter used to read our comments every 15 minutes, not every 2 hours. I'm sorry, Troy. YouTube chats are open. Super chats are open if you want to give. I'll go ahead and read that comment when you put it in there. And also Facebook stars are available. When there's a guest on, when there's host on talking and the show is flowing, we're going to keep that flow going, not with the nonsensical comments that you provide almost on a nightly basis. I'm sorry. I appreciate it.
Yeah, Troy.
Shut up!
All right, Harry, I know you got to get out of here, and I guess Ray is gone for the night.
Hi, Ray.
Technology. There you go. Okay, so Roger says, let's talk USFL. Let's not. We got former Lightning players doing well in other places. Absolutely. I mean, Palat's one of them. Congratulations to him and the New Jersey Devils in knocking out the New York Rangers, who made a big trade at the deadline. It doesn't guarantee you anything, and they're out. And they were in the Eastern Conference Final yesterday versus the Tampa Bay Lightning, and they were up 2-0. So nothing is guaranteed in hockey. That's why you got to love hockey playoffs at the end of the day, Stanley Cup playoffs. I still think trading White is still on the table. I get it, but I heard from Chat Sports they think Devin is overrated. What do you guys think?
No.
Go ahead, Harry. I'll go out to you. First and foremost, do you think it's on the table for him to be traded? Light has talked about saying he's not going to be traded. And
he's going to play. Let's just stop the nonsense. He's going to play.
Okay.
He's not overrated. Okay. He's going to play, and he's not overrated.
Okay. I think he's a little bit overrated. I do somewhat agree. He has not been the same player like Donovan Smith since 2020. He takes bad angles on tackles. He's not a consistent tackler. He doesn't always give the best consistent effort.
And he'll make a difference this year. You will see a big difference because he got exposed. Okay, people learn that he can't pass protect or pass cover. That's the
You got to
difference.
do that. You got to
I understand that, but this year you're going to see a significant difference.
Okay. All right. Let's see here. I said Ralph Williams there, so we'll get him on in just a little bit. Bandit loves Harry. Roger again. Harry is, oh God. KR, they said Cansey is underweight. Like Sapp, maybe he could learn something from the Hall of Famer. Troy says, I don't want wings. I want smoked mullets. Roger says, I love smoked mullet. Tulio says, wow, Donovan Smith overpaid. Well, good for him to not only get the money, but a great chance to get another ring. But I'm glad as hell that he isn't playing for the Bucs anymore. And I tell you right now, the human turnstile, watch out, because he may get Patrick Mahomes killed there. I'm sorry.
You're right. He sucks.
Too many critical penalties last year, for my taste, cost this team points. And I've seen enough. I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to turn the page when it comes to Donovan Smith. I'm sorry.
Don't apologize. You're getting exactly what you want.
I'm going to definitely get what I want here. It's always going to get what I want here on the Sports Web. Yeah, that's good as hell. Okay. Christopher Cole. Hey, guys. Prayers for the Barrett family. Great stuff, Christopher. Let's see here. I'll pay Pete $100 to eat smoked mullet on air. I've never even had that before, and I'm not really a fish eater.
It's not bad.
I get made fun of for not having eggs with vegetables in them. I get made fun of having my steak well done. You're about to make fun of me again, because even though I'm from Florida originally, I don't eat a lot of seafood. I just don't. So I don't know if I'm going to be doing that on air. I don't know if I'm going to be doing it. Well, what's it taste like? Is it any good?
It's not horrible.
What does that mean? I just asked.
It tastes
it's
like
not
fish.
Horrible. What does it taste like? Rubber? Or what does it taste like?
Excuse me. Settle down there, Francis.
Listen here, buddy. I know it's past your bedtime, but kind of pep it up here a little bit. I had too much coffee tonight, obviously. I don't know. I'm fired up, man. Talk about fish, man. I don't want anything to do with that. Screw you and your fish. How about that? Roger says, for great content as usual, Greek guy for life. Appreciate it, Roger. I'm going to take that 20. Troy says, Peter Boss.
And ship it right here.
Peter Boss said Friday will be half a day because it's Cinco de Mayo. Once again, you don't work with me.
This guy sucks.
Roger says, no, he didn't. We have the same boss. KR says, 1 year, $9 million for Smith to KC. So that's the news tonight. This draft wasn't flashy, but solid. Christopher Cole, what would you give the grade? Once again, Christopher, thanks a lot for coming on. Even though you didn't get Brian Branch right, which I was surprised. Even though he was there, I thought that was a need. Maybe the Bucs would go with him. The Detroit Lions go with him, and he falls all the way to the second line. I think the Lions killed it. I think the Lions absolutely killed this draft. The Philadelphia Eagles killed it. Thank you for expounding on that. I appreciate the.
You think the Philadelphia Eagles killed it, and you're the one that couldn't stand the player that they took from Georgia in the first round?
Who? Okay. Jalen Carter is a talented player.
Oh, wait a minute.
He and I'll tell you another thing. I'll tell you why. Listen, I'll tell you another thing. You want to call me out on this nonsense?
Not at all.
I'm going to tell you why he may work for that team, because they have a veteran locker room. I'm not so sure if they have that in Chicago. I'm not so sure if they have that in the other places. It works with the Philadelphia Eagles. Like Antonio Brown works with the Bucs for a while because you have that veteran leadership. Eventually, he's going to
Word out of Chicago came that they said 8 other teams passed on him. In reality, 4 teams passed on him.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody moved up in the draft except for Philadelphia to move up 1 spot. And on ESPN radio, the general manager of the Chicago Bears said, quote unquote, there were character issues. And they didn't like the workout. And they publicly said that they didn't like the workout that they went to on his pro day at all.
And I feel
like. And by the way, you were right. But Philadelphia gets They killed the draft.
Well, they're not just with Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, right? Okay.
Well, wait a minute. You can't kill the draft if you don't like the first pick that they're taking in the first round, Pete.
Listen, Jalen Carter is a talented player. I never denied his talent, but I told you what the red flags were and why the Bears would pass up on him.
It was red, all right. And not only that, it was red to Seattle. It was red to Indianapolis. It was red to Houston when they moved up to get, I mean, it was not just them.
And
Arizona.
It wasn't their only pick. I mean, they knocked it out of the park. They got Nolan Smith, who's a pass rusher. You add what you did last year with Nakobe Dean. You traded for DeAndre Swift. I think they did a hell of a job. Yeah, again, like you said, and I told you this, there were going to be red flags out there. And for the life of me, I cannot understand your biggest job interview, your biggest opportunity. Just think about it. We have an opportunity, me and you, to put this show on ESPN Radio or Fox Sports Radio. I mean, not with some of the stuff that happened tonight, but we're just saying, are you going to get drunk before the job interview? Are you going to get drunk before, the tryout show? Or are you going to do everything possible to make yourself look good? And for me, I don't know where that kid's head's at. And I understand that he's still young.
No, I get it.
Opportunity to turn it around. I know where Chicago is coming from. I don't fault Chicago for doing it. I think Chicago got the best pick they could get because you're trying to protect your investment in a Justin Fields. And Darnell Wright may turn out to be the best offensive tackle in this draft. Home run, Ryan Poles. All right.
Yes, sir.
Yes. All right. I'll tell you what, I'm going to let you loose here. I'm going to read the rest of these comments, but go ahead and promote yourself here on the evolution of Sports Talk Television, my friend.
To my fellow Greekites and everybody else, you can capture me right here Monday and Wednesday evenings live on the Sports Web. And maybe eventually you'll get some picks, but I don't know if there's enough time in the segments for me to give picks anymore for some reason.
Well,
that's all right. You can go ahead and message me on my inbox on Facebook. I'll be more than happy to respond to those of you that do. You've had a hell of a week. Actually, you've had a hell of a couple of weeks. Anyway, I'm Harry the Greek. Keep your bets low and your returns high. Pete, thank you so much for having me on.
Well, really quick, I mean, do you want to get your picks in?
It's too late.
It's never too late.
Yeah, it is.
All right.
We'll do it next week, buddy.
All right, we better do it next week.
We might even start to show up on the Sports Web with the over-under, okay?
We need to do that. Pay for picks and stuff like that. We need to get some people to pay for these picks. These picks are valuable. You're going to make some money at it.
That's all right. And don't forget, everybody, Kentucky Derby is May 2nd. Head on out to Tampa Bay Downs and go have some fun. And if you're not in that neighborhood, you can go out to Tampa Greyhound Track. Either one of the two. That's right off of Burden 275 right there in Tampa. Or you can go and watch the horses run live in Tampa in Oldsmar at Tampa Bay Downs. It's not the Kentucky Derby, but there's going to be plenty of TVs out there. There's going to be a lot of drinking, and it is going to be packed, and it'll be a fantastic time to come out.
Awesome. Great stuff. Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire of 1252 Chicago Sports. Thanks a lot for your time here on the Sports Web.
Deuces, little brother. Have a really good night.
All right, man. There you go. Good stuff there. We got J.C. Allen coming on from Pewter Report. You got Ralph Williams, of course, the newest Pittsburgh radio personality, and, of course, former XPW, Mr. Mark Mancini. Turnbuckle Talk. Let me read the rest of these comments, and I'm going to get out to J.C. Really quick. We're going to talk about the Bucs draft. We're going to talk about these comments from linebacking coach Larry Foote today and what he learned because he was actually at the press conference. What is it with our ex-players going to the Chiefs? Do you think it's easy? Super Bowl ring, shaking my head. Brian says worse will shine in comparison to Smith now that our offense is going to be run-based. Ralph says Tampa Bay has drafted some good players. Kalijah Cansey, and, of course, past the Savakier Dennis right there. I got to say that. If you give me race tickets, I would throw them straight into the trash bin, and that's why you're a troll.
This guy sucks.
Let's go on to Troy. Rays suck. Yeah, 25-6. Hell yeah. Let's all do a Rays game. Troy, again, give me some race tickets. I would probably resell them for $500 a piece. I'll turn trash into gold. Roger says Rays will lose 100 games. Nonsense.
This guy sucks.
Thanks, guys. Very humbled. Absolutely deserved it. Ralph says, what was today's soup at the kitchen, Ray? You need to stop with that.
Shut up!
And Roger Shue says, even Pete's mom doesn't hit the like button. Come on, Mama Blake, hit the thumbs up. She does. Carl says, no way is Devin White overrated. Toronto was outplayed in every game in the playoffs except for one. Troy says, Harry wouldn't know about smoked mullets. Only real Florida country boys know. Roger says he's Greek. He knows seafood. And KR says the Philadelphia Bulldogs, shaking my head. Let me go out to Mr. JC Allen here really quick. I know he's going to get on here and talk some Bucks. We may have him on for Turnbuckle Talk. Hopefully he added another dimension to that. Let's go out to him. JC, welcome to the Evolution here on a Wednesday night. Welcome back, brother. How you doing?
Better late than never, but how we doing, Pete? Doing pretty good. We've Bucks been busy. They've been active. They had a successful draft weekend. Followed it up with some nice undrafted free agent signings. Defensive coaches spoke today. Offensive coaches next week, and Friday starts rookie minicamp for next week as well. So busy couple weeks here for the Bucks coming up with a lot of guys out there at voluntary workouts, off-season workouts. And they've been getting some field work in the last 3 days. So busy time for the Bucks, even though it's off season for football.
It really is. It's never really an off season because you got the schedule release here coming up in about a week. I think it's like May 11th. So that's coming up here anytime. But what did you learn out there at the presser today? Asking some really great questions, of course, of Larry Foote. I got to start with this one. What were your thoughts on his comments of Devin White, champagne problems? He knows what the business is all about. I asked Leo, I asked Harry, do you think this would be a distraction going forward? What do you say?
Yeah, first of all, epic use of Taylor Swift song lyric there, song title there. But yeah,
thank you.
Again, he said he's seen both sides of this. He was a player in the league for a long time before he made the transition to the coach, and it's pretty much what it is. It's all comes down to money. There's no we'll go with another T Swift song title. There's no bad blood between the two of them. But he just wants more money. He's gonna, right now for Bucks fans, he's definitely the anti-hero. With his plays that he can make on the field, the splash plays. But there's also the problem with him, not being consistent. Sometimes, he'll have lapses in courage. We all saw the loafing plays. Sometimes he'll just see red and go after the quarterback, and it won't result in a sack, or it will be on a play action fake, and it'll put him out of position. So there's a lot of growth for him to do as well. He's not 22 anymore. He's getting older in the league, and he's going to have to really ball out if he wants that money. He's looking for, hundreds of millions of dollars guaranteed to him and on a contract deal. And as Larry Foote said, he sees both sides of the situation. $11 million is a good chunk of change that they're paying him. Eventually, I expect him to come to training camp. I don't know about mandatory minicamp. He might skip that to make a point. But eventually, he's got no other option but to come in and play, because if not, he'll lose a year he won't accrue another year, which means he'll be right back in the same situation as he was next year. In the meantime, it seems like Foote is communicating with him, on a regular basis. He's going to, if he is not there at mini camps and whatnot, he's going to send him installs and keep him up to date. But eventually, there's no leverage for White. He'll be back. He has no choice but to be back, and I expect him to be back, maybe playing with a chip on his shoulder, even though I don't believe he should. Again, he's making over $11 million on a fifth-year option, and while he's been, one of the best linebackers at time, he's also looked unplayable at time.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I threw a whole bunch of Swift references in there.
Well,
People
you
caught
did,
that.
and I love that. And that's not DeAndre Swift. That's Taylor Swift at this point. We're on with JC Allen. Pewter Report. Just had to correct it because there are some Philadelphia Eagle fans out there may think DeAndre Swift. They killed it in the draft. Let's talk about the first pick there out of Pittsburgh, Kalijah Kancey. I mean, how excited do you think the Bucs are to get him at number 19? because he didn't even know that he was going to be selected by the Bucks. I mean, that just shows you how talented of a front office Jason Light and crew are, right?
Oh yeah, and we're plugged in over here at Pewter Report more than anybody. I mean, we've nailed the last 3 first-round picks over the last couple of years, except for this year because there was just nothing, no news, no nothing, no little heads up that or inside rumblings that we get. They played this one extremely close to the vest, and they were ecstatic to get him there. Now, if one of those tackles were there, or maybe Jalen Carter or something, fell to 19, would that maybe deter them from taking this pick? Yes, but I don't see, or maybe one of those top quarterbacks, CJ Stroud talking about falling, maybe, but I don't think at any other point, you look at the cornerbacks that went, you look at some of the other players that went ahead of him, I don't think at any point those guys were higher on their board than Kancey. They hadn't, necessarily had to have a big need on the defensive line. There was certainly a need there. They brought in Greg Gaines. They have Logan Hall, who's bulked up to around 296 now, which is something he needed to do. And they had some guys on the roster. Many thought, maybe they addressed it with some good defensive tackles still left on the market or later in the draft. But, he brings exactly what they've been looking for. And they brought in guys in the past with Darius Stills a couple of years ago in the 6th round as a guy who is that speedy, quick twitch, undersized 3 technique. But that's what they've been looking for. We know that the defensive tackle drafts, other than the top guys, the last couple of years haven't panned out. I mean, Davian Nixon was talked about as a potential first rounder. He's on his 3rd team in however 2 years. So they identified a prospect that they really liked, that they thought could give them a really big boost on that defensive line where they've had trouble generating pressure with just 4, and they grabbed them, and they are absolutely ecstatic to have him. I talked to his defensive line coach, Coach Partridge, in Pittsburgh, and I asked him, he's got that versatility to play, but where do you ultimately see him playing? And we said he's going to be a demon 3 technique. The thought of him being as a 3 technique is just scary. So, he's got that power, the speed, the quickness, short area quickness. He's hard to block in one-on-one situations, which he'll be in quite often. A lot of people are, well, he's undersized. Look at the track record. A lot of these undersized guys don't have a guy who's going to consume 2 blockers in Vita Vea. Not to mention Vita Vea's got all those same things: strength, power, speed, short area quickness. So pairing the 2 of those next to each other is going to be a scary sight for opposing quarterbacks that are not only going to have to account for the guys on the outside, the guys in the interior, and also Bull's creativeness with sending secondary players on blitzes. So it just adds another level. And we know too, penetration in the backfield leads to sacks, leads to tackle for a loss. It flushes those quarterbacks out, which makes it harder for a lot of tackles to play in space. Where outside linebackers can take that advantage and sack a quarterback who's rolling out or trying to scramble. So definitely not the biggest need the Bucs had, but is going to be an impactful player, I think, from day one, even if it's just in a sub-rotational role his first year.
Do you think with that pick at number 19, we're on with J.C. Allen up here to report that they thought they took a step back without Sue, of course, Akeem Hicks not being able to stay healthy, that they needed to get more pressure on the quarterback? And basically when a lot of people said, well, they got Gaines and they've got Vita Vea, they lost Nacho, but they got enough depth there. They said, no, we need to get younger. We need to get faster there. So basically the reason why you make that pick is because it is a big time need and because they felt like they did take a step back last year, JC.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when Vita Vea is your leading sack getter on the team, that's not a good showing. And obviously they lost Shaq Barrett earlier in the year. Joe Tryon-Sharenka had 4 sacks, but he was there he probably could have had 15 sacks with the amount of lack of finish that he had on a couple of those runs. But the pressures were there, the quarterback hits were there. They're disrupting the ball, disrupting the quarterback, and that's what you want. But they've struggled to do it in the interior. And even Ndamukong Suh's last year had 6 sacks on the quarterback, but a lot of those were situations where they were kind of gift sacks. They weren't him absolutely influencing the line of scrimmage and causing disruption and penetration. That's something that Cansey's going to be able to bring. I know the comparisons have been thrown out between Aaron Donald, John Randall, etc., undersized guys. I don't 100% get behind those. I think he can be that type of impact player, but we're talking about Hall of Famers here. Donald was much stronger coming out of Pitt too. But I think when they looked at all the potential prospects they could get, Anton Harrison was definitely someone they were intrigued by if Cansey was gone at left tackle, but he's still a guy who's going to take a minute to get really up to that NFL level. He's going to have some struggles. And to be honest, I think when we look back at this, I liked Anton Harrison as a player, but he's more in that Austin Jackson role with the Dolphins that drafted him a few years back. Didn't have his 5th-year option picked up. I think when we look at him, that's going to be kind of what his career path is. So if you can get a guy who was DT2 on a lot of people's boards and can really influence the pocket, influence the disruption and pass rush, force guys to the outside, and allow your edge rushers to get some easy sacks, and really kind of tackles for losses and put teams behind the line of scrimmage. That's what they're getting out of Cansey, and I think they were really excited to be able to have him. Like I said, a handful of prospects probably they were high on, but I don't think. When you look at who they could have taken, the Brian Branches who didn't go to, the mid-second round, the Anton Harrison who went at pick 27, those other guys that were picked after him, I don't think they had them nearly high enough on their board to justify taking them over Cansey because of the impact he can have, especially day one as a rookie in a rotational role, even if he's not starting.
Makes lots of sense. And you hear Logan Hall, you're talking about the defensive line here. He's put on some weight. I mean, 29 pounds or something along those lines?
Yeah.
So do we assume that Hall is going to assume the role that William Golston had there as a 5 technique on the outside?
Yeah, I think when they're in their base, you'll see Golston. You'll see him in the place of Golston. Now, Golston could still be back too. I don't know if they're 100% thrilled with their defensive line depth there. I think they probably want to add another person, whether that's a nose tackle type. Coach Casey Rogers said they'll use Greg Gaines in that role as well, and they have Didrin Sanat who played that role, undersized, but is still a big enough body that can hold up against double teams. I think that's what you'll look at: Logan Hall, Vita Vea, and Kalasha Cansey. And of course, it's not going to be the NFL doesn't play in 3-4, 4-3 often. It's mostly these nickel packages and dime packages where you're getting multiple DBs on the field, and putting your best guys out to get after the quarterback. So in base, I think you'll see that situation. Cansey's a little bit smaller to be a defensive end in that 3-4 scheme, but they'll have someone next to them, probably Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, who's got that size, height, power, athleticism. So even with his hand in the dirt, it will still kind of be like a 4-3 alignment type deal with one of those with Shaq Mason either on the line or kind of a few steps back. So, Logan Hall, the biggest thing for him was getting bigger, getting acclimated to the NFL game, coming from Houston, which isn't, it's not a big school. They do go against some top competition, but with him getting bigger, a year in the system, even Coach Rogers said that he probably should have played him more in instances, but coming into year 2, I always say rookie year is so difficult for guys because you're learning a new team, a new system, a new playbook, new teammates, a new organization, new routines. You're learning how to practice as a professional, not as a college player. You have more time to spend in the building because they only have limited amount of time with these guys. Because the school and academia comes first, and you're also learning a new city. So all those things are going on in a rookie's mind while they're trying to digest and get up to speed as quickly as can. I think year 2 he's going to be in a much better situation to make plays, to attack. And I know I've seen the Twitter chatter calling him a bust after 1 year and saying, back-to-back defensive lineman pick, shows how much of a bust that Logan Hall was. people got to stop with that. 1 year of production or lack of production doesn't mean anything. Warren Sapp had 3 sacks his rookie year, 3 sacks, and we know what he became.
Right.
Yeah, so I think Logan Hall's in for a good season. I think they'll put him in positions where he'll succeed, cover his weaknesses, and emphasize his strengths. So I'm excited to see what he can do this year.
All right, so we're on again with JC Allen. We're about to go and switch gears with Turnbuckle Talk here with the madman himself, former XPW announcer, Mr. Mark Mancini, and of course, the newest radio personality there in Pittsburgh. No longer Pittsburgh's forgotten son, Mr. Ralph Williams. Looking forward to talking WWE and AEW. Really quick, you talk about Tryon Shayanka. Is he on notice with the drafting of Yaya Diaby? Am I pronouncing his name right?
Yaya Diaby.
Diaby. Savacia Dennis.
Cervasier, like the drink, Pastor Cervasier.
What did I say? Well, I said the same. Why did I do that? And Jose Ramirez from Eastern Michigan. Tell me about all these guys, and can they challenge for a starting job over a Tryon Shayanka? Because he hasn't really lived up to it. He doesn't finish. He's not lived up to that potential. I get it. You only have a small body of work. But is he on notice with these picks by the Bucks this year?
I wouldn't say he's unnoticed. I think they definitely expect more out of him. You look at his rookie year. He didn't play football in 2020 because of COVID year. He opted out. So the last time he played a full season of football, and the only season that he was a starter, was in 2019. So he comes in his rookie year, and, I'll go back to what Coach Larry Foote said. They're going to play the guys they pay. And that's something that was an Arians philosophy, and that was JPP. And JPP, as we know, in 2021 was not himself. He was banged up. He was hurt a lot. He was playing, with a separated shoulder, and still they chose to ride out with him over Joe Tryon Shayanka, not giving him valuable reps. They also utilized him in different ways, kicking him inside for the most part as an inside rusher on obvious passing down. So he didn't really have a good shot his rookie year. You fast forward to his sophomore season last year, and 4 sacks. It's not what you like to see, but he was there. He led the team in pressures. He led the team in quarterback hits. He was always in the backfield. Again, you mentioned it. I mentioned earlier, finishing was his biggest thing. And luckily they just got a really good one that's going to help him learn how to finish, and Coach Bob Edwards. And he's going to be able to utilize him in ways and show him things that he obviously showed a game record with the Cowboys and Micah Parsons. So you got to be really excited about that. And also last year, remember, Shaq went down. So when Shaq went down and Anthony Nelson was there, teams aren't going to they don't respect Anthony Nelson. So that when they're using an extra tight end to chip the edge rusher, whose side do you think they put him on? Anthony Nelson's side or Joe Tryon Shayanka? So he's having to battle through that as well. So again, people want to label him a bust. You really have to kind of put in context what his career has been so far. A year out of football, learning again that rookie year is tough for all rookies. And then not having a real opportunity to play his natural position and really get those reps and important snaps in with JPP. And then last year, Shaq goes down early. So he's definitely, I wouldn't say he's on notice. I wouldn't say he's close to being labeled a bust because the production's there, even though the sack finishes and sack totals weren't. But yeah, he's got to produce this year. There's no way around it. He needs to produce. Last year, I had him pegged for 10 sacks. I'll stand by that. I think he can get to 10 sacks this year, especially when you add in Kalijah Cansey next to Vita Vea, funneling those quarterbacks out of the pocket with the disruption and penetration they can get up in the middle, even more so now than they could in past years.
All right. Give me an overall grade because we could talk about this draft all night long, but I want to get to these guys. Turnbuckle Talk is coming up here, and I know you want to hang out and talk some wrestling. So final grade, Mel Kiper says a B-. Where do you lie on this, JC?
Yeah, I think, with the way the Bucks went, it was a typical Jason Light draft. You see the guys, small school linemen, high character guys. When I say high character, I've talked to all these guys, position coaches, and these are guys who are going to lead by example. They're going to take guys aside. They're going to work after practice, stay after practice, put in the tape. I talked to Jose Ramirez, position coach, and one thing he told me, coaches, they're always staying late and coming in early. He would come in early sometimes in the morning, go to the media room to get things set up for coaching sessions with his guys, and he'd find Jose Ramirez there asleep watching film, just passed out overnight watching film. That's the type of guys these players that they're getting. So typical Jason Light draft. There were sexier names at some points on the board, but they got guys who are going to make an impact. I think when you look at the top and bottom of this draft, there's guys who can make an impact, starting with Kalijah Cansey. Cody Mock could win one of those starting guard jobs. Yaya Diaby will be a situational pass rusher in his first year and gives him speed, size, athleticism, and power on the outside. You look at Servassier Dennis, something that they didn't ask him to do a lot in college was dropping coverage because he was one of their best pass rushers. Talking to his coach, he's got no doubt about it that he's going to be able to make that transition. And with his rush ability, Coach Larry Foote was asked, will we see more 3 linebacker situations now that you have a guy like Dennis over a guy like Britt? And he said, we will not be doing that. Gave us a nice wink at the end. So you might see that happening. You look at Payne Durham, massive target in the end red zone.
Cross from WWE.
Karrion Cross. Yes. Looks just like him. Perfect segue. But this is a guy who can work the seam, and in the red zone and in those short situations on third downs and fourth down situations, he's a big guy who can make contested catches. So he's got a role to fill on this team. Trey Palmer out of Nebraska, wide receiver. He was expected to go in the third, fourth round. He ended up going in the 6th round. He's got burner speed, can work as a return man, and work as, we look at the depth chart at wide receiver right now, he's got a strong opportunity to make this team even as a 6th round pick. Josh Hayes, cornerback safety out of Kansas State. He's played nickel. He's played safety. He's played outside cornerback. He's had good production, physical, strong, fast. You look at him, he can play a role. He's got an opportunity to compete and maybe win that starting nickel job. And then with Jose Ramirez, a lot of players, this was a lot of guys and women. Cynthia Freudland from NFL Network, this was her favorite day 3 pick out of everybody. And there were some quality names left on the board. He's a guy who, can get after the quarterbacks, got great study habits, work ethic. So when you look at what they did top to bottom, they've got guys who can make an impact. Whether that's that we're not talking Pro Bowl caliber guys, but guys who will serve a role. And, I was listening to the great John Ledyard's podcast and, just talking about Payne Durham. He's a guy who 1 year will have 7 touchdowns, 1 year will have 3, but he's always going to be in the mix and making plays for your team. So, and then you look what they did in undrafted free agency. They got some steals there. So I give this draft a solid B+. I think, it's not going to be a draft that kind of produces Hall of Famers, I don't think, or, multiple time Pro Bowlers or all pros, but it's going to be guys who are going to come in, they're going to come in ready to work, and they're going to make an impact on this team one way or another. And, when you get those guys, especially in draft times nowadays, people like those flashier, sexier picks, especially on day 3. I think what the Bucs did, they stayed true to their board, got after high character guys with high work ethic and production to back it up. And that's what you're going to see on the field, throughout their rookie contracts, is guys that can produce, that are high character athletes, that are going to back up their play on the field.
Great stuff as always, JC Allen of Pewter Report. You're going to have to promote yourself after we do this, but we're going to do turnbuckle talk right now. We're not going to go to a break. Let's go out to the madman here, former XPW announcer. I don't know what's going on. I guess it's dark there. Well, what's going on there, Mark? Well, there's nobody there. So let's go out to Ralph Williams. We'll wait for Mr. Madman himself, Mark Mancini. Ralph, welcome to the Evolution here. Turnbuckle talk finally on.
Yes, it is.
My friend.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So Mark is going to join us in just a little bit here. Well, there he is. I guess he's having some problems here. There he is. There's the face shot right there. Former XPW announcer, Mancini Media, XM Sirius Radio, Mr. Mark Mancini. Welcome to the Evolution. I got to start off with you, gentlemen. And JC, you know where I'm going with this. You said acknowledge you. You got to acknowledge us.
Acknowledge me. That's it. That's right.
The Rays defeated your Pittsburgh Pirates 2 nights in a row here.
Yeah.
Mark, what do you have to say for yourself?
Well, we're both wearing gold. So we're ready for the Toronto Blue Jays after we guys take you guys from preventing the broom sweep tomorrow. But at least the rest of the National League Central is acknowledging us, because the last time I checked, Milwaukee, Chicago, Cincinnati, and St. Louis are looking up at us. So I'm in pretty fair company. it's been a rough week. The Bucks lost in basketball. The Houston Roughnecks lost. But I put that prediction out that the Toronto Maple Leafs would roll the Tampa Bay Lightning.
You know what? We're just going to
We
move
don't need to talk hockey. We don't need to talk hockey on this podcast.
Because I know
None of us need to.
Shut the fuck up.
AC definitely doesn't want to talk hockey because the Boston Bruins.
Oh, well, there's a team that shot their wad in the regular season.
All right. We'll be nice here tonight. All right. WWE reportedly had no plans to unify the WWE and Universal Championships until Roman Reigns became unavailable for the premium live event last year. According to Fightful Select, the decision to unify the title came when Reigns was unable to compete at the Day One premium live event in January of 2022 due to COVID. So now, guys, he's scheduled to defend a Universal Championship against either Brock Lesnar. He was scheduled against Brock Lesnar. Lesnar was added to the scheduled fatal four-way between Bobby E., Bobby Lashley, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens for the WWE Championship. With that being said, first and foremost, let's start there. Do you guys like the unification of the title? And then we'll start there, Mark. You first. Do you like the unification of the title there with Roman Reigns?
I think that the title is good, but, and I know we're going to get into the draft selection and everything, but,
sure.
It's pretty interesting right now what's going on. We're all speculating who Reigns' next opponent is, and we should have had a clear-cut vision of this after WrestleMania. We're now into May, a month later, and this thing is coming up probably in 2 months on SummerSlam. Hopefully we'll have some clear-cut indication on who Reigns is going to wrestle next, because I'll tell you one thing, the bloodline is not coming with them. Jay and Jimmy Uso.
You don't think so? All right. So
no, I think they're leaving them aside, and he'll stand here and he'll go with Sikoa and they'll run that gamut with Heyman. But I think the bloodline with them losing left and right, time to cut the rope.
I don't know if that happens, Ralph. I mean, what do you think of the unification of the title? What do you think about the bloodline being done there, especially the Usos and the Tribal Chief?
Well, I like them splitting the titles. I'm glad they're splitting them up, especially the tag team and the championship belts. Let me tell you this. I read a report. Jimmy Uso is leaving the WWE. He wants to be with his wife, Naomi, whose real name is Trinity Fatu.
Wow.
And, so she's done an Impact. And Mercedes Moné, formerly known as Sasha Banks, is supposed to be signing a contract. Supposedly Trinity recruited her, and her contract with New Japan Wrestling has expired. So Jimmy wants to be with his wife, and I don't blame him. And, the Usos are kind of going to be left out in the cold here with the bloodline because of the way the draft went. And also, I believe that, the Usos are being put out to dry because they blew the titles and things like that. So we'll find out what happens. Roman can always rebuild the bloodline. You got Nia Jax coming back. You got The Rock's daughter down in NXT. They're all cousins. And you got another cousin or nephew or something down there as well. I can't remember his name, but it's down in NXT. So if they bring them up, right there's your bloodline. So there you are.
JC, what do you say?
Yeah, as far as the dual belts, I don't think they'll unify them as one. I just think aesthetically, it's with Roman's holding one and Heyman carrying the other and whatnot. I think ego-wise for Roman to have both of those belts and be able to walk around both of those belts. If he loses them, maybe they unify them, but as long as he's the current reigning champ, I don't see them unifying those two titles into one. As far as Undisputed Championship goes, love the new belt. We talked about that. As far as the bloodline, it seems like the storyline is going to be with Solo Sikoa turning on the blood on them probably this Saturday at Backlash at some point after they fail to recapture the titles again. And which could lead to, as Rob was talking about, maybe him severely kayfabe injuring Jimmy Uso to the point where he has to retire or something like that, and that paves the way for him to go to Impact. As far as Roman Reigns' next opponent, that's the interesting one right now with the way that they did this brand split here, which we'll talk about in a second, I'm sure, but just But I think the most likely opponent for him is someone who hasn't wrestled since 2020 at Extreme Rules for about, and that's Bobby Lashley. Guy got his opportunity to win the WWE championship before they were united. He's been getting, a decent sized push here. And I look at that roster right now on SmackDown, and other than a guy like LA Knight, who is rumored to potentially win Money in the Bank, which isn't until July, of course, I think that for Clash of Champions before that, Bobby Lashley seems like a perfect opponent for him to go up against, having to work his way through Solo as the enforcer, as another, big guy, and finally get to Roman at Clash. So that's kind of the way I see his next opponent for him, because, I don't really see many challengers on SmackDown that haven't done anything within the last year and a half or so. They've got Edge and other guys like that, but Bobby and Roman, we haven't seen a storyline between them since 2020.
And I like that storyline. I like your point on that. do we appreciate do we like this brand split? Because you mentioned it, JC. I'll start with you, Mark. The new title now is going to be just officially to Raw. I think that's a great move at the end of the day, because people want to see a title. They don't want to see Roman Reigns have it on just SmackDown. And of course, the reason why he's on SmackDown is because of the Fox deal. But do we like this brand split and what they did with this draft here, Mark?
Well, and when you look at this thing, and we all know how drafts go, after about 3 weeks, everybody will jumping on back and forth to different things, and we'll see, different guys jumping. They don't stay there the whole year. We all know that. We've watched wrestling long enough. But the interesting thing here is I kind of knew that they weren't going to pull Reigns, Sikoa, and Heyman away from SmackDown. SmackDown's the better brand, guys, because Fox is dropping some big money, prime time right there. I don't want to steal thunder, but I'll play the appetizer to what Ralph was saying, that, they're looking at SmackDown going 3 hours here, and I'll let him shed the light on that. But Raw is one of those things you can kind of do without. You see a little bit of it, then you kind of roll your eyes and say, okay, I'll watch Sports Center now.
How is that possible? Raw used to be the top show.
Yeah, Raw used to be the better one, but now Monday night, kind of a snooze. You're done with the weekend but SmackDown is really getting interested in. JC, another guy they brought over to SmackDown was Austin Theory. So you got some interesting things. Charlotte Flair carrying crosses over there. I'm really getting forward, and that'll be a nice storyline if it goes Lashley and what's his name, Reigns. But with LA Knight going, SmackDown's got better. I think what you've got is, if you want to look at majors and minors, the minors now has become Raw.
Yeah, Ralph.
I disagree.
Go ahead, JC. Go ahead, JC.
No. I'll let Ralph go first. But
go ahead, Ralph.
Yeah, I think that SmackDown's the better program because it's on Fox. That's the first thing. The second thing is they're going to go 3 hours real soon because, they have what I'm concerned about, guys, is this with this draft. I want to see some better rivalries. I'm tired of the same old ones. Now, I'm glad LWO is going to SmackDown, and I'm glad Judgment Day is going to Raw. Let them separate because I'm tired of seeing that rivalry, okay? I don't mind rivalries, but when you continue to have them all the time and it's the same old story, they took a survey amongst wrestling fans. A lot of them are saying they don't like some of the same rivalries all the time. That's why they don't watch Raw anymore. So with this draft and with, the Judgment Day and Imperium in the same show, maybe we could see Imperium against Judgment Day. I would like to see that. That's where I see this draft going. And if it's not that way, then, it was a wasted draft.
JC, you have some comments on this? Go off, my friend. I know you
I'm going to go off here. So first of all, the storyline for weeks since it was announced about the tension in the locker room and who could split up and what teams, who's going to get split and who's going to get the push, resulted into absolutely nothing. They drafted factions, they drafted tag teams, and that split that people were talking about happened between, Montez Ford and the Street Profits and potentially, Alpha Academy and the New Day, all that. None of it came to fruition. So it was just talk for talk. I think when you look at the situation of the two rosters, Raw has a better roster in my mind, 1,000%. You look at the superstars that are on Raw right now. Cody Rhodes, Becky Lynch, Gunther, Matt Riddle, Drew McIntyre, Shinsuke Nakamura. Even if you want to, Rhea Ripley, Seth Rollins and KO, Sami Zayn, Liv Morgan, The Judgment Day, The New Day, Trish Stratus, Ronda Rousey, Braun Strowman, Bronson Reed. Like, they are stacked with talent, and they've got good young talent too, as well. And if Randy Orton does make his way back at some point, the reuniting of him and Matt Riddle, even if it's not in a tag team faction, if they're still solo competitors, but just part of the same, two guys hanging out or whatever, that boosts their brand as well. You look at SmackDown, yeah, they have Roman Reigns shirt and Solo Sikoa, but Roman Reigns is a part-time wrestler, and it's the reason why they made up this new belt and did this draft in the first place. And to call it a draft is just insane to me, because a draft is when you have two different people or factions selecting player after pick or whatnot. This was not a draft. This was the writers in the back room saying, okay, we're going to put him here, we're going to put him there, we're going to put him there, her there, and then sending out legends to announce the pick. That's not a freaking draft. All that is you making a creative decision on where you're going to move your rosters to, and then calling it a draft. It's insane to me. The drafts were much more entertaining when they had rival GMs for each brand, and they were taking like other people's picks. It didn't feel like at any point you're like, oh man, Raw was probably gunning for him, or it didn't feel like that, especially with the lack of splitting up talent. So I think it's just insane. But you look at SmackDown, yeah, sure, they got Roman Reigns, but really, he's a part-time guy. Edge is probably on his last year. Bobby Lashley, I like him. I like what they did with AJ Styles, even though they paired him with the OC. You look down the line, Austin Theory could be a challenger for Roman eventually, but he's not going to lose the United States title in a month and a half, I don't think. And then be able to build a storyline against Roman, especially coming off John Cena. I don't know if he's ready for that. Yeah, they got Asuka. They have Sheamus, but we've seen Sheamus do almost everything. There's, could the Sheamus Roman Reigns storyline work? Maybe, but they don't really have the guys to push. I mean, unless they're going to push Karrion Kross, and hopefully they push LA Knight. Who on this roster besides Austin Theory, Bobby Lashley, maybe AJ Styles, and Edge, which you've seen a million times, is really a threat to Roman Reigns? I think when you look at the two rosters that were decided by creators in the back room in the draft, quote unquote, I think Raw for me is more of a draw. Because at this point, I'm kind of sick of the bloodline. I'm sick of the storyline. It's not progressing. They're not doing anything. Yeah, the slow draw with Sami and KO was the best storyline we've seen in years. But this slow crumble because the Usos can't win their titles back. And so I don't know. I'm not a fan of what SmackDown's going to look like. I'm still going to watch it. But I think right now, with the talent on board, Raw is the better show for me.
He makes great points. I mean,
yeah, he does.
Yeah, he makes
I'm a rambler.
points.
Sorry, you know that, Peter.
He brought it.
Yeah, you brought it. We got JC Allen of Pewter Report. We got the Madman, former XPW announcer, Mr. Mark Mancini, and of course, the newest radio personality.
Yes, June 20th.
Congrats.
County Radio.
And you absolutely deserve it, Mr. Ralph Williams. I'm your host, Peter Blake, here on the Sports Web Turnbuckle Talk.
Hey, Peter, yes. I want to send some prayers also down in Tampa with the Barrett family. Man, that was very, very sad. It kind of reminded me of the time when John Candelaria down in the state of Florida lost his kid. Really, I can't imagine.
Anytime you lose a child, and I don't have one, but I do have little sisters, and they were kind of like my kids at the time. I can't even imagine. Again, thoughts and prayers out to him. I did post a link from Loose Cannons. If you want to donate, you can definitely do that. We plan to get them on here. Hopefully, we'll get a chance to get them on here. I don't know what happened to JC. There's JC. Let me get him back on here. There you are, JC. Michael Cole is not planning to retire in the near future, and he was on the Pat McAfee show. Of course, he's been with WWE since 1997. He's a play-by-play announcer since 1999. He did an appearance on the Pat McAfee show, and he says, oh, well, I'm going to have to stop or else I'm going to be married 30 years. So if I want it to last longer than that, I'm probably going to have to stop at some point. But no, it won't be anytime soon. I still got a lot of work to do with this company. I mean, there's still a lot of stuff to do, still a lot of shows to call. I told someone that I would, I'm 56 now, so 60 sounds like a pretty good age to maybe slow down just a little bit. Where do you stand on Michael Cole? Because he follows a legend in Jim Ross. There's nobody that's ever going to replace Jim Ross, of course. The play-by-play WWE voice with the Austin era and The Rock, and just
my God,
just amazing, amazing calls by Jim Ross. Where do you stand with Michael Cole, Mark Mancini?
Well, I really like him a lot. I really do, and he brings the A-lister type of thing to SmackDown. I mean, I more or less have to turn the TV down when that other guy on Raw. And I don't want to, I don't want to take
Kevin Patrick.
Kevin Patrick. I don't want to take the steamroller to Raw. But here's the thing, JC, to be where you and I can agree to disagree. I can't stay up for that last hour and now deal with the Judgment Day or the Alpha Academy or anything else. I think SmackDown, and I'll leave it at this, is so precise where you can run the storylines, and Fox has it set up perfect because you can drag them out a lot longer now with the way it is. But we all know, and everybody here knows, that this thing will last for about a month, and then we'll see people going from different brands. So you're exactly right. This ain't a draft.
Ralph, your comments on Michael Cole?
Yeah, Michael Cole's a great announcer for wrestling. He's been around a long time. He stayed with the WWE. It's nice to see him on SmackDown. And, with Wade Barrett at this time, I don't know what the story is with Pat McAfee. I guess he's not coming back full-time as an announcer. And I don't blame the WWE because he kind of stiffed them. He took that college announcing or that college analyst job. And then he goes and he tells the WWE at the last minute he's taking the job. And Triple H wasn't too happy about it, and I don't blame him. But, I like Michael Cole. I think he's a great announcer. It will be a Hall of Famer. And it was a real slobber knocker. That's all I can say. That's what Jim Ross would say.
I tell you right now, JC, I mean, Michael Cole kind of started out as the guy that was getting dissed by The Rock, and then he becomes the lead voice for WWE. I mean, your thoughts on him talking about possibly 60, retiring is like 56 now. So that's 4 more years. I mean, who's going to take over there?
Peter, what are your thoughts on Michael Cole?
I mean, again,
it doesn't matter what your thoughts are on Michael Cole.
Well, you dropped the ball.
No,
what is your name?
And the first pick in the WWE draft.
All right,
Raw picks Peter Blake.
Yeah. No, but I think Michael Cole is great. Is he Jim Ross? No one will ever be Jim Ross. By God is my witness, he's broken in half. But Ross is a guy. He's still on AEW, but sometimes you feel like Ross probably should good old JR should probably call it a good old quit job because I don't know if he gets the sheets from Tony Khan, but he just doesn't. It's like he doesn't pay attention on a weekly basis when he's there on the other shows, and he just kind of spews whatever. It's kind of like Wade Barrett. I feel like he's calling the other thing was 2 weeks ago.
Some bad news.
2 weeks ago, he called Wade Barrett. He called Gunther Walter, and I was like, "Oh, messed up." But Michael Cole's done a great job from his time as a comedy stick to the time as just becoming an announcer and taking over. It will be. There's nobody waiting in the wings for him once he retires, if that's in 4 years or whatnot. So it will be interesting to see how because as much as they try to develop wrestlers, you got to develop these announcers too. And so far, I'm not a fan of Graves, Barrett, or Patrick. Michael Cole's the best announcer they have for sure.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. All right. With that being said,
bad news, you said? Who's got bad news?
I got some bad news. Remember when Barrett was a wrestler and he used to say that?
What, as far as Graves goes,
I think bad news Barrett.
Graves adds some things. I mean, not just because
Graves is pretty good.
He has a good sense of humor.
Yeah,
Graves is good, and then Barrett. But I don't know how
You can't follow Jerry the King Lawler or Bobby the Brain Heenan. Okay, those are the legends at the end of the day. That's what I'm used to. My childhood.
Yes.
It's Bobby the Brain Heenan. It's Gorilla Monsoon.
Jesse Ventura too.
Yeah, there you go.
Jesse was a good. Yeah.
Very
Patrick is just. I mean,
Tony Schiavone and Bobby the Brain Heenan, and of course, JR and the King. But again, give credit to where credit is due. Michael Cole has definitely earned a place in the Hall of Fame. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame one of these days.
Let me ask you, where would you rate Patrick? He's got to be the worst of the worst.
Oh gosh,
I'm not a fan either. So
I should put him on NXT and bring up that
that other
Joseph guy. He's
really
good.
I know who I liked. I liked Amaro Ronaldo.
Oh, Mario Ronaldo. Yeah,
right. I liked him a lot. And
him and JBL didn't get along. They ran him out of.
Well, they also brought. I don't know if you guys remember this. They also brought in Avin Nurk from the MLB for a couple stints.
And Joey Styles too. They had Joey Styles on there for a little
I like
while.
Joey Styles.
So did I.
Styles is good.
Yes.
Oh my God! And it was an ECW. He did WWE, and you could either do that one or you go, "Can't fight." I'm like, oh, that's ECW. That's ECW.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, it was.
Joey Styles. I remember him.
Love Joey Styles, and I think they should have used him more. I absolutely agree with you on that
Tom
one.
Phillips is an impact. He was a good announcer.
Yeah, there's
too.
another
They
one.
ran him out.
Yeah,
So.
well, that's what happens sometimes in the business. Speaking of the business, Trinity Fatu, formerly known as Naomi, made her debut for Impact. She talked about this on the Busted Open Wrestling podcast of why she chose Impact over WWE. She said, the doors are open for me everywhere, literally everywhere, but I truly feel like Impact is the best choice for me at this point in my life right now with what I want to do, just to be able to work with the talent there. I feel that it's where I'm the happiest, the most utilized, and really get to grow in the ways that I feel that I need to right now on this wrestling journey. She says, had all this stuff never happened, there's no way I would have taken that leap, but the situation kind of forced me to figure it out. That's what I meant when I say everything was a blessing in disguise, because I'm really going through a lot. I just felt very stagnant, and I wasn't happy. Of course, both her and Mercedes Moné, of course, the boss, Sasha Banks, they both walked out. They didn't like the direction of that. Let me go out to JC because I know how these two guys feel. How did you feel about that walkout? Was it reasonable for them to walk out with the direction, or do you think that was wrong on their part and they should have been punished by WWE like they were?
Look at the WWE Tag Team Women's Champion right now. Just look at it. Look at the division. Look at what they've done with it. That tells you everything. You have a premier superstar that you put the belt on, and then a Naomi who's got a strong fan base as well. You put these two women together, and I mean, with all these racial, creative writing things coming out, who knows what they were doing? But at some point, as a wrestler, as an athlete, you've got to stand up for yourself. And if they felt that the direction of their creative wasn't going in a way that was going to highlight not only them, but the women's SmackDown Tag Team Champions, which they were starting to bring to relevancy again, then how can you fault them? Both of them are amazing competitors. I have no doubt they'll be back in the WWE eventually at some point, whether that's a few years down the line or, when they're, I think Sasha will definitely be a Hall of Famer, but good on them. You got to be happy with what you're doing, especially in the wrestling business. Impact is not quite as strenuous as WWE and maybe AEW is with their filming schedules and everything like that. But they made the best decision for them at their time. It sucked losing them because I thought they were both great competitors. Not gonna lie, I was really a big fan of Sasha Banks. At the same time, what can you do, honestly? But wish them the best of luck wherever they go, and success in their career. Especially because the boss Sasha Banks, a Boston native, so you always got to get behind my girl.
And you gotta love Mercedes Moné there in New Japan Wrestling. She is killing it right now. Yeah, Monet.
She'll always be Sasha to me.
Monet. All right, so let me go on to the madman himself, Mark Mancini. What do you think of this situation?
Well, it doesn't matter what I think.
I
told you it doesn't matter what your name is.
Never gets old. We're never going to be able to duplicate that in wrestling. You do realize that, gentlemen. We're never going to have a superstar or an era like we had.
No, it's sad.
Yeah, it really is. And
We're getting
the
old.
sentiment, JC's words and Ralph's and yours. With Naomi, listen, every time she came out with that neon outfit, I had to find my Ray-Bans. I mean, come on, man. I was never a big fan of her. With the wrestling division, JC's right. They've got it up there to where it's really, and Stephanie is a big part of that. She was the one that really took that thing and ran with it. And look at the talent you got in there. You got Bianca Belair, you got Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch. I mean, the list goes on and on. But, when I look at it also, there's some good girls in there that have kind of fallen off the cliff there. Where the hell is Carmella?
Well, they don't know what's
pregnant.
That's it. They don't pregnant. Well, yeah, she's pregnant.
And
Yeah.
Sonya Deville.
She had a miscarriage. She's pregnant again.
Yeah, Sonya Deville, every time we see her, it's like a Bruce Springsteen song, 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. I mean, come on.
Well, we had something happen with her today. We'll get to that in a moment. Ralph, I want you to comment on this. I mean, a good move by Naomi and, of course, Mercedes Moné, of course, the former Sasha Banks.
Yeah, I think it is, Peter, because, see, there's a lot of freedom involved here. Impact, AEW, they give you the option to work other places. You can work in MLW, you can work with New Japan. They have working relationships with those companies. So, ROH or whatever you want to do, you have more freedom to do that. Where in the WWE, even the person that works in the main office that serves lunch or whatever has to sign a contract saying they can't go work for the competition or something or whatever. They have no compete clauses everywhere in their contracts with the WWE. I like it. I think it's going to boost Impact's women's division. You got Mickie James there and, and whatnot. So, there you got Gail Kim still there. I know she's a little up in age, but she's still hanging in there. And so, their women's division is going to get better there. And you know what? It could bring more women of caliber to Impact Wrestling, which will help their division. And that'll be great for their women's division. And as far as the tag team belts go, I think it's a joke. And the NXT tag team belts are being dissolved because their champs ended up on Raw. So
and the challengers.
Yes.
Last night.
Yes. So the NXT title women's tag team, which is a joke too, is going bye-byes. So there we are.
There we are. All right. I want to get to this story because you kind of stole my thunder. I think you guys did that on purpose. Sonya Deville, a manicure. Well, that's okay, guys. You could do that.
We set you up with it, brought her name up.
That's bada bing, bada boom. We set you up and you knock it down. A man accused of stalking and plotting to kidnap WWE star Sonya Deville. It actually happened in Tampa.
Wow.
3 years ago, struck a plea deal that is supposed to put him behind bars in the next 15 years.
Wow.
According to prosecutors, he was obsessed with the wrestler. They say his obsession turned to anger, and he drove from South Carolina to the Bay Area with a knife, zip ties, and duct tape with the plan of kidnapping the wrestler. Deville said she ignored it for the most part until he broke into her home in August of 2020. I mean, guys, this is a scary situation. Fans kind of got to take a step back. This could have been a really bad situation, but you got to say that it all worked out in the end, right?
Well,
yeah, I think of Taylor Swift, when she had that stalker. So, I mean, it happens all the time, Peter, with these people. They get crazy, they smoke pot, they do drugs, their mind's not there. And, or they
whoa. Hold on. They smoke pot. Pot does not make you want to kidnap and kill somebody.
No, I know.
You sound like you're from the 60s back there. What's that?
No, it's
what was that movie, Reefer Madness?
Yeah.
JC, it's going on, man. There's marijuana everywhere. People smoking all over the place. Their brains still freeze dry. They have no clue. Come on, JC. You know better than I do.
It
doesn't matter what
you want to talk about like meth and like that crocodile stuff and bath salts, I'm behind you. But
Spice,
marijuana is not going to make anybody kill anybody, man.
Yeah, that's and again, we
Mental
don't know.
problems will.
Listen, we don't know that. Yeah, that more than likely, we're not making a joke of this. This is crazy in itself because
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Man had some mental problems. Now, with that being said, this stalking right here is okay. Peter Blake, I'm stalking you. Well, thank you there, Miss Snee. Please stalk me all you want to. Well, JC, your thoughts on this situation with Sonya Deville?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's great. You get a guy who's mentally unstable and was devising plans to kidnap somebody behind bars. I mean, ultimately, that's the best solution that could have come from this case. We're starting to see more and more of these superstars speaking out, especially, about these autograph hounds and stalker fans, that are showing up to airports and outside of hotels and stuff like that. So, maybe this will act as a deterrent. The judge came down hard and said, hey, you're getting 15 years. Obviously, there's probably some sort of plea, parole agreement or something like that. Good character. I didn't read the court papers, but still, I mean, that should deter, at least hopefully, any of these rabid WWE fans in the future. I've got one of these guys on my Facebook. He's an autograph collector, and he's obsessed with Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan's #1 fan. Shows up at the airport with the Liv Morgan shirt, #1 fan, and I'll send you some pictures. This guy's a lunatic. So he's an autograph hound guy. So I mean, it hopefully what this does is deter that from happening in the future. Good for Sonya Deville for bringing it to light. Obviously, a terribly scary situation for her to be in the first place. But in the end, the desired outcome, I'm sure, was one that she's happy with. And like I said, hopefully deters this from happening in the future with any other sickos out there who, I mean, just go on Liv Morgan's page or any of these girls' page on Twitter and read some of the comments. And men are just pigs, they're not all of them. Peter especially is one of them, but most of these men are just psychopaths.
This guy sucks.
Oh man,
Oh, my.
JC, I love JC. I love you guys. Here we got Ralph Williams, of course, new Pittsburgh radio personality, and of course, Mr. Mark
Yes.
Mancini, former
June 20th.
SCW announcer, absolutely. And again, JC Allen, Pewter Report. Let's go out to Conan's Keeping It Real or Keeping It 100, excuse me, former WCW announcer, Disco Inferno. First and foremost, I gotta ask you. I'm gonna go out to JC first. JC, what did you think of Disco Inferno and that gimmick in WCW? And they ruined it to me when they put him in the NW. He was never NWO. Stop it.
No,
Everyone was NWO. If you were in WCW, you're NWO at some point. I love Disco Inferno. I thought he was great. Obviously, he had more talent than I think his shtick allowed him to be. But I thought he was a decent wrestler, and the gimmick, I didn't change the channel when he came on. When I heard his entrance music, I'll tell you that.
Well, you came on with this here. I mean, Mark, Disco Inferno. Well, what is it? Does he belong in the Hall of Fame by chance? I mean, everybody makes the Hall of Fame. It's like the NBA. Does Disco?
Oh, hey, look at the Brooklyn Brawler. He was horrible.
Well,
That's
exactly
your buddy Mark, the Brooklyn Brawler.
Well, he said he's
exactly where I was going to.
Great jobber. Is that where we go with? Because I thought Disco was a good worker. Does he deserve to be in the Hall of Fame? Where's his gimmick?
I don't know. I don't know if I was never a big fan of him. And you know what, Ralph, you just took it right out of my mouth, because when I thought of Disco Inferno, he kind of reminded me like the Brooklyn Brawler. Came in and kind of did his stick. And I don't know. I mean, you got to be a fan of those kind of guys. And I wasn't, When people tell me about the Ultimate Warrior, was I a big fan of him? Would I rather see the Honky Tonk Man and Rick Rude and Jake the Snake over Ultimate Warrior? Yeah. So, I mean, everybody's got their own thing and what they like, but I wasn't a big fan of Disco Inferno. I thought his thing was good, but other than that, I mean, wrestling skills and everything, I don't know.
He was like too sexy, hotter, too Scotty, too sexy. Like, he wasn't. You didn't watch the match because you were expecting, technical wrestling match, Chris Benoit type technician, or a Billy Kidman type high flyer, or anything, Dean Malenko type striker, or Ken Shamrock type submission. Well, you watched those matches because they were fun, and I think for what he was a fun guy, had a cool intro, came out and did his thing on the mic and did his thing on the ring. I don't think he was a serious freezer
To
beef.
me,
That's
it was like Billy Gunn. You know what time to go to the concession stand and get a hot dog and put mustard on it.
Mr. Ass.
Well,
I'd put him
Mr.
up there with like Mr. Ass's character gimmick, stuff like that. Yeah.
I think Mr. Ass was a better gimmick, and then he's still going good today, guys. He's the ass daddy there in AEW, which is crazy. I mean, Ralph, what did you think of Disco?
Oh, I thought it was a gimmick to make you laugh. That was about as far as it goes because his wrestling skills were horrible. Now he does a podcast with Conan, and Conan can barely talk. So I mean, and that's what they're up to right now. And so, but I've also heard him on a guy in this town, Mark Madden. I've heard him on his show.
Oh, God.
He has a good speaking voice, though, Disco Inferno. It's just that he wasn't that great of a wrestler.
On boxing terms, guys, on boxing terms, you know who he reminded me of? Jorge Paez. He'd come out with the whole clown suit. Remember Jorge Paez?
I don't remember him.
Little before my time there, but I'm going to definitely look it up on YouTube. Now, he had this to say about CM Punk going back into the locker room versus the Elite. He says, every wrestler in the past that's far more popular than the Elite have worked things out and done business. So if guys aren't willing to do business, bro, his words, not mine, just let them go. That's it. You're probably saving a bunch of money. They need to cut some costs too. But if you're not willing to work with Punk, then get rid of them. They're useless. You literally have a great angle here that will do business for the company. I agree with them on that. You're saying, no, we don't want to work. You're done. I've got good business. I can do it with you guys. You're saying, no, forget it. See ya. That's what he says. Now, you're not going to get rid of the Elite because if the Elite leave AEW, Triple H is going to be on the phone on line one and saying, hey, come over here. We're going to make you, the biggest stars ever. We're going to put you over. You're not going to do that. But I understand where Disco is coming from. But I feel like, guys, we talked about this over and over again. CM Punk is going to come back to AEW because there's money to be made if they can come together. Now, we talked about this last week where CM Punk has had conversations with Chris Jericho, and they seem like they're going to work together, which is going to be great. But anyway it goes here, and I'll start out with JC, this is a moneymaker. This is what you're going to watch when it comes to AEW, and the reason why you're going to watch it is because of the disturbance that happened last year.
Yeah, you're setting up by all this. You're setting up a storyline without a storyline even happening. I mean, at the end of the day, you're a professional wrestler, and I know the Elite are part of this. Are they still EVPs?
I think they. I don't know if they are. Not.
But still, whatever.
Right.
And that's even more of a reason. You do what's best for the company. You do what's going to bring in the views. You bring what's going to bring in the money, to bring in the audience, and for them to staunchly say that they are not going to have anything to do with CM Punk and that, they have to make this own show so that they're separated. I don't know the backstage history. I don't know if CM Punk slept with one of their mamas or their wife or whatever. But if Matt Hardy and Edge can get over something that serious, like, you need to do what's best for the company, what's best for the business. And again, you're essentially, and this might all be Tony Khan's best work, putting all this out there that they don't want it, and you could be building this storyline that would be something you bring out. Maybe Wembley's too soon, but that you bring it out eventually, and you build this storyline up behind the scenes in the Twitterverse, in the Rumorville. And you build it into be this gigantic situation where CM Punk is going up against the Elite, and everyone wins. Everyone makes money. Everyone gets ratings. Ratings lead to better benefits and better things for the company. So for any wrestler to say, no, I'm not working with them. Now, it would be different if they got injured and they don't trust their wrestling skills, but that's not CM Punk. So it's just one of these things where grow up, bud. You're an employee for a wrestling company, and even if you're in ownership or some sort of have stocks in it, then even more so, you should realize that this is a great opportunity to make yourself even more money and bring even more attention and notoriety to AEW, because, like it or not, they're still number 2, and they're always going to be number 2 until they can figure out what sells, what brings those casual fans back in. Casual fans are tuning back into WWE before they do with the AEW. And that's just the truth of the matter. And you got to find a way to bring those guys into AEW.
And that's the bottom line, because JC said so. And I'll go back to Eric Bischoff. Controversy creates cash. Mark, I mean, this is an easy sell for me. I don't care if they're fighting in the locker room. I don't care if they're biting each other, which was reported, scratching each other, calling each other names, punching each other out. At the end of the day, this is what fans want to see. And JC brings up an astute point. And Matt Hardy and Edge, who that Edge was with Lita when Matt was with her. If they can have a storyline, these guys can come together and have a storyline.
When he was out injured.
Crazy. Yeah.
Right.
Well, they could have a storyline, but I still think you're going to see CM Punk finding his way back into the WWE. I mean, a lot of people think it's AEW. I still think he's coming into the WWE. Maybe a bombshell meeting in the summertime, maybe before SummerSlam or something. But if they can get a guy like Brock Lesnar with a cowboy hat walking around like he should be on a John Deere somewhere in Winnipeg, Canada, how come they cannot figure out a deal to get CM Punk? CM Punk would be bigger than Brock Lesnar.
Well, he would be, but that's WWE. I mean, they give him the opportunity to have that creative, some of those creative juices, and AEW used to be good about that. But again, what they're trying to do here, Ralph, is keep these parties separated, because it looked like CM Punk was going to leave the company and they were going to buy him out. But at the end of the day, Tony Khan looked at the ratings. You're not any better without CM Punk. You're actually worse. No matter if he may be a cancer to the locker room or not, what's best for business is to book CM Punk versus an MJF, versus the Elite, versus a Kenny Omega.
Yeah, see, Tony Khan had egg on his face, because I'm going to tell you what he did. He threw his executive VPs under the bus. And so he had to clean that up too. So the CM Punk situation, Tony Khan did a really good job here of cleaning all this mess up that he created, because he threw them under the bus when they had that fight in the locker room. He suspended them instead of sticking up for him and saying, kicking CM Punk out of the company and saying, look, goodbye, which, of course, like you said, he needed them for the money. He was able to put it all together, get everybody working together. You don't have to like each other, but at least work together, respect each other.
Right.
I've seen that in my lifetime. I drove a cab for 15 years. There were drivers I didn't trust. There were drivers, but I respected them. They respected me. And then if I gave them one of my steadies, I knew they were going to take care of them, even though they didn't like me. So you see what I mean? And it can be done. And I've been in that situation many times. So, I mean, it can be done like that. You don't have to like each other, but respect and get along.
Greatest rivalry of all time, and we'll end it with this: The Rock versus Stone Cold, because they were so similar, but they were so unalike when it came to character. Right. And I think the second greatest rivalry of all time, and we would admit this because it led to the Montreal Screwjob, was Shawn Michaels versus Bret Hart.
Yes.
If you look back at it, there was personal things going on where Shawn was talking about how Bret was with Sonny, and Bret felt disrespected by Shawn, and
right.
It exploded in the back, and that's what made a great storyline and a great rivalry.
And Shawn was an asshole too.
Right, he was
to everybody at that time.
Right.
I think another one too that doesn't get talked about, and I don't think it's the greatest of all time or even in that category, but John Cena and The Rock. I mean, that whole year and a half building up to that WrestleMania match or rematch. I mean, that was electrifying, because there was, I know proper use of word there, right? There was things that John was doing without telling The Rock.
Yep.
Like you watch these. I mean, I love AEW, and I'm sad because I didn't watch it that time. So AEW does a phenomenal job with their biographies and their rivals, just taking me back to those days and inside that look, because that was one of those situations where there was some bad blood, and that's what makes a good rivalry. A good rivalry is two guys who can work that may not like each other, even if it's just at the time, but understand each other enough to know that the best way for us to smash this out or whatever is to do it in the ring, because that's where we're going to A, earn a bigger paycheck, and B, bring in the ratings, which is A, going to allow us to bring in that bigger paycheck.
Well, two fronts I wanted to just touch on. I thought the best one I ever saw, and I still put it up there as being the best in the WWE, was Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and the Macho Man.
Wow, that's a good one. That was a great match.
Steamboat and Flair too was a good one.
And the other thing with Sonny, I got to work with Sonny and Chris Candido in the XPW for a couple times, and let me tell you, Sonny could have been one of the best if the whole drug situation didn't take her down.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, and I tell you right now, you mentioned it because Vince knew that, and they were trying to put her on the map, and she was before Sable. She was before. She was the one, but she could never overcome drugs. And of course, she got with Candido, and he passed away, and she's still in trouble. Even though she went into the Hall of Fame, she's still dealing with her own demons.
She's in jail now, so I mean,
it's
don't forget about Val Venus and Taka Michinoku.
That was
Choppa, your baby.
Well, and another one. I was watching AEW the other night. Bret Hart and Stone Cold Steve Austin. Nobody talks about it, but
not at all.
It was the beginning of Stone Cold. I mean,
where's R-Truth and Takazawa?
I don't think that's in the same conversation here at all. Madman. All right.
I mean, you look at it too, recent. I mean, what would you call that biggest rivalry over the past, let's say, 3 years, 2 years since COVID came back? What is that? Like, where is it? Like, even the Sami Zayn bloodline thing, Sammy's still trying to talk to, like, that it's not a rivalry as so much as someone trying to, like, come to God, save Jesus moment. Like, he's not the Messiah you're looking for. What rivalry over the last couple of years since COVID has really stood out to you?
I think
Lesnar and Reigns.
Reigns and Lesnar. And
Reigns and Lesnar.
I think another title that's going to happen again, and it's going to involve the Shield, because it's almost like DX and NWO all over again. It evolves around all those wrestlers. It's going to be Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns once again here in the next couple years in WrestleMania. That's right at the end of the day. I think that's a rivalry in itself. But you're exactly right. I mean,
the problem with the draft too is they tease this stuff, right? They teased the whole Lesnar. I mean, the Rollins and Reigns, and they just had a wonderful match on Monday Night Raw. And then the whole Cody story about, he's him coming saying he's gonna compete for this, throw his name in the ring for this heavyweight, but the story's not over with Roman. Well, unless what Mark is saying is true, and we're going to see the draft just fall apart in a couple months. That opportunity has been taken away from both of these guys with Reigns on SmackDown and both of them on Raw. And I get it. You got to, with Becky going to Raw, you got to keep Seth there because they travel together and they're married and they like to do that. That's why Montez Ford and Bianca are on SmackDown. But you've taken away two big storylines. And then if you even go further than that, if Cody's going to finish this story, quote unquote, the best way for him to do that is to win Money in the Bank. And if they're planning on having LA Knight, which I think deservedly so, he's up there as a wrestler at age 40, but so over and a great in-ring competitor. How do you continue either one of those storylines for either one of those wrestlers with Roman Reigns now that you've done the brand split? It's just some of the decisions, even with Triple H and creative, are still kind of puzzling to me.
They are puzzling, and I tell you right now, you go back to Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels in those two WrestleManias.
Mankind, they always had banger match.
That was another rivalry that was great. And then
Austin versus McMahon.
That is, I mean, guys, what's the better one? I mean, honestly, think about it. Is it The Rock? Well, hold on. Is it The Rock versus Stone Cold, or is it Stone Cold versus McMahon? What's the better one in your opinion? Because I feel like
I think McMahon and Austin. That's
because that made Austin's character.
Correct.
Yes, it did. Yeah.
Because if Stone Cold were just going off The Rock, yes, two great wrestlers going against each other, but Stone Cold probably isn't at the level he is where he can take on The Rock like that if he doesn't have this stick it to the man, F my boss type attitude that drew so many people in there, especially the working class and the adults that were really watching it at the time. bring them in there to feel what he's, let that anger and frustration out through Stone Cold attacks towards Vince. And then when The Rock joined the corporation and sided with Vince, that just made that storyline with him and The Rock and him and Vince even larger.
That's a great point. And I was thinking about this the other night when I was watching, and I was like, if you don't have Stone Cold versus Vince McMahon, I don't know if Stone Cold is going to get over, Mark.
Well, not only that, what you're looking at here is if you got mic skills, I think these guys are the top mic guys. But if you're looking at wrestling, and I'm going to still bring that Macho Man Randy Savage and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, you show me better finesse wrestlers than those two guys.
Oh, yeah.
That went on and dragged that thing on for over an hour. I mean, the skills there. Stone Cold and The Rock couldn't bring those skills, but Stone Cold and The Rock had better mic skills. But you know what? The Macho Man could very well damn talk too.
Well, Macho Man could talk, but it seemed like most of the time, he was on something. Ralph, yeah. I don't think it was marijuana at the time. I think it was something else.
He was probably on something else. Yeah, exactly.
But it made him that character, and he's exactly right when it comes to they stole a show at WrestleMania 3 with that great match with Macho Man versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. That is a classic match that overshadowed probably the greatest moment of WrestleMania, which was, of course, Andre the Giant
versus Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. So
I think it did. I really believe that match was a better match. And when they pushed Hulk Hogan, if you watch the documentary about Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant having a match, Hulk Hogan even said that Andre wasn't well that day. He was having issues with his back and his hip, and he just wanted to get it over with. So that's why that match was quick, because he really didn't. Andre wasn't well that day, but he still did the match.
Yeah, and he wasn't sure if he was going to do it or not.
Right, exactly. Yes.
Guys, we've been talking about wrestling for at least 45 minutes. It was well worth the wait. JC Allen, go ahead and promote yourself. Once again, welcome to Turnbuckle Talk. Always welcome here. Go ahead and promote yourself, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me at Twitter at JC Allen NFL. All of our work is over at pewterreport.com, at Pewter Report on Twitter, Pewter Report TV on YouTube. I just put out full breakdowns of the undrafted free agents, both on offense and defense. Have a couple other stories coming out this week, as well as a roster reset, kind of where the Bucks are at. I also have a fun giveaway going on right now. Just thanking my followers for just sticking with me. And so if you go like and retweet my pinned post, I'm giving away a signed Antonio Brown mini helmet. So go like, retweet for an opportunity to win that. You have to be following me in order to win it. So go ahead and over there and test your chance. I'm going to draw a winner sometime Friday night, probably while I'm watching SmackDown.
Good stuff there, JC Allen here on Turnbuckle Talk. Thanks a lot for your time, as always, my friend.
As always.
Thank you, JC. Have a great night.
JC, baby.
Talk to y'all later.
All right. He's the man right there. Let me go out to Mr. Ralph Williams. Once again, new job in Pittsburgh. I'm proud of you, my friend. Go ahead and promote yourself. Yes.
YouTube channel. I have some shows on there. I'm up to 98 subscribers. I need two more to make 100. So there we are with that. I'm also on Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And my email address is ralphwilliams737@gmail.com. And also, I'm going to be going on the radio June 20th. It'll be every Tuesday night, 5 to 6 p.m. Beaver County Radio.
Yeah.
If you live in Tampa or anywhere else, you can listen to it on their website or on their app. And you can also watch it on Facebook, because I'm going to be live on Facebook as well.
Love it, my friend. Definitely send me the link. I'll try to get on.
I will do that. Thank you.
Ralph Williams.
I like the license plate behind him. What is that license plate?
It's Lizard Lick Towing.
The shot looks good tonight, my
Lizard Lick Towing. I actually got to take pictures with Ron Shirley down in Raleigh when I was down there when my aunt died, and I went down to Raleigh and I went to visit Lizard Lick Towing, and I got pictures with Ron Shirley.
Nice. And you also got a chance to pose with Merrill Hodge. Is that
yes, right? Merrill Hodge, Ryan Shazier, and Craig Wolfley.
We need to get him on the show. We need to talk some football. I love his breakdowns. Good stuff,
Yes.
Ralph Williams.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
the time as always. Let me go out to the bodyguard of the bird, former XPW announcer, Mr. Mark Mancini.
Show that's sweeping Wednesdays, baby. I love this show, man. the Throwdown in Tampa. I'm on XM Sirius 203, 217 on Fridays. WWDB AM 860 out of Philadelphia. Thursdays with Marianne and Sal. Pittsburgh Pirate Podcast with first base coach Tarek Brock. It'll be exciting come Friday if we can avoid the sweep in Tampa tomorrow. And then the San Francisco Giants podcast with Alex Berg. We'll find out how the food was in Mexico City in that 2-game series with the Padres last weekend.
Well, I tell you right now, I'm sorry about your damn luck. If you know where that's from, then we're definitely friends here. Of course, it's most likely going to happen. You're going to get swept tomorrow, but it's always great to have you on the evolution of sports talk television, my friend.
I love you. Say hi to your mom, and tomorrow I'll guarantee you we're going to raise the Jolly Roger before we leave Tampa, Florida.
All right, we'll see. There you go right there, Mr. Mark Mancini, former XPW announcer. Thanks a lot to all the guests tonight. You guys make this show what it is. Of course, Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire, up 1252 Chicago Sports. The legend himself, Mr. Leo Haggerty, former Coach Scout and now media member of Night Sports Productions and Amped Up Sports. Best of the Bay, Tampa Bay, Ray Kennedy. Of course, the madman himself, Mark Mancini. Ralph Williams there in Pittsburgh with his new radio job. And, of course, JC Allen up here to report. Like and subscribe to the Sports Web on YouTube. Like I Love St. Pete, The Hub, and Amped Up Sports. And do 3 things for me on this Wednesday night edition of the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. Bring your passion. Bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. I'm your host, Peter Blake, your Rolex reporter. What time is it? It's my time. And fans of the Sports Web, it's your time. Have a great night.